Sometimes the world just needs a hero to help cut through all the noise.
Well, now you have two.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's been a rough week, but we have some good news because you are now listening to your friendly neighborhood Heroes of Noise. I'm your host, Steve.
What's happening, everybody? My name is Dan. We're here to soothe your mind with all this craziness that's going on in the world.
Oh,
welcome to the show. Steve, what are we on? I'm losing count. Is this episode 5?
We are on episode 5. We are episode 5G. What?
Welcome to episode 5, everyone. We're glad you're here. I know, right? We're actually getting there. You know, I heard somebody, I can't remember where I heard this, but I heard that if you're a new podcast, and you can make it to, say, episode 10, you're golden.
Oh,
like you're not going to quit. Not that I feel like we're going to quit or anything like that, but I mean, we're halfway there to that point. We got a benchmark that we're approaching.
Well, you know, the thing is, it's kind of like that marriage thing. If you make it over 7 years, you're going to make it, period.
I mean, one would hope, right?
I think that's the truth, kind of, in a way. It's a 7-year itch. Is it, or are those two different things? I don't know.
7-year itch would be when you're just jonesing for some strange, I think, is what I think.
Is that what it is?
I think that's what it is.
Oh,
I could be wrong.
You would know.
Maybe that's just that point.
I don't know. Oh. I thought it was the 7. Well, maybe it's the 7-year hump. Is that what
Which I think, well, that's what you get from your 7-year itch.
Oh, you're right. You get the 7-year
Get
hump.
A little 7-year humping in. Yeah.
I see what you did there, Dan.
I know. So, yeah, welcome. Let's bring the class back up again. Sorry. I dropped the class for a little bit. My fault. But I didn't bring this up. I didn't bring it up. Steve.
Yes.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, man. I was having an interesting week because of the Orange Man in office, but today I saw a video that actually restored my faith in humanity. So I'm feeling good today, man. I'm feeling really good.
Well, I don't think you should be so vague about that because, you know, you sent that to me as well, and it was pretty touching. I want to tell you right now, screw you, I didn't cry. So
you didn't? It just brought tears down my face. And I don't know why. It wasn't even that no one died. It just was when he started speaking correctly, dog. Oh my gosh.
Let's backtrack, Steve. Why don't you go ahead and explain what we were talking about?
It begins with I guess they videotaped them watching a documentary. And on this documentary, there's a high school age kid with a speech impediment where he really has a stutter and he has trouble getting words out. And so they show his teacher and him trying to do this poem and he can't get past certain words. He's really stumbling. And at first the people watching the documentary are like, oh, come on, why are you guys making him do this? I would be like, come on, hurry up and get it out. And so they show the documentary and the teacher says, well, let's try this because I saw this on the King's speech. And he puts music on and the kid slowly starts kind of getting it. At first it wasn't working. But this video isn't even so much about the documentary as much as you see the people reacting to what they're seeing, how their attitudes change. And so turns out the kid has to give a speech. And so before he gives a speech, he puts on these headphones and he goes into the speech. And as soon as he starts speaking fluently, the person that introduces him just breaks down. I mean, within 3 words, the woman just breaks down crying. And then as he's going through his speech, the kids in the audience are crying. The people watching the documentary are breaking down. And it shows you that, oh man, humanity isn't all bad, even though it is in the UK. But humanity isn't all bad. And you see that what a teacher can actually do, a teacher can change someone's life. The whole course changes for this kid. The whole course of life now changes for this kid. He now has done a speech, which will make it easier for him to do another speech. He got a cheat code of how he can get past his issue. That is because of one teacher staying after school a few times. And it changes the course of this kid's life. And so it was just, dude. Oh, it made me feel so wonderful. My mom saw it. She cried. My sister cried. I was like, man, I don't mean to mess up people's days today.
I may or may not have had a tear in the corner of my eye.
Dude.
Maybe I was lying when I said I didn't. I'm just saying maybe I wasn't, but I probably was.
Dude, how How beautiful was this video, dude?
It was moving, man. And I think that's fantastic on so many different levels. Mm-hmm. I liked the way, like you're saying, I liked the way that people just sort of doomed him from the start, yes. but completely flipped their whole mindset about that and were opened it up to something that they never, like, just like you or myself, didn't even really consider. I also think that it really demonstrates the power of music.
Oh, yeah.
That there's something to that. There really is something to that. Not to get cheesy about music, but someone had mentioned in the video that maybe it's because it kind of drowns out his thoughts.
Oh, yes.
And maybe that's what it is, but the thing is that it was able to help him get out all of these bottled up words that are in him without that hindrance, that handicap of the stammer.
Yes, dude.
And astonishment on his face that he's actually getting these things out. Yeah, it was very moving, man. So thank you. Because I had woken up to the orange basically mad at one of the basketball players' father because he didn't say thank you.
Yes.
And, I may or may not have
I saw that.
Put a little anger out there on Twitter. See, that's how I judge my days. When I wake up and the first thing I do is tweet about Donald Trump, I know that I got to start over again. So thank you very much for giving me a reset.
Oh, dude.
It did restore my faith, even minutely in my faith in humanity. And it's just good to know that there are good people out there. So,
and it's funny that one older dude, there's an old man that's watching the documentary. He's everyone's grandfather. It seemed like he's a hardened. And so when he started crying, you could tell that's not his thing. At least that's what I got from it. He's not one of those guys that are really sensitive. He's like a strong grandfather. You know what I'm saying? But he's just like, oh my, even when he was doing, he's like, oh my gosh, you got me crying. How crazy is this?
He even announced it. Like he was surprised. There's watery things coming from my eyes.
Exactly. He's like, what in the world? And so I was like, oh, that's so cool that he said, what in the world? You got me crying? What?
What's this strange substance?
Exactly. He's one of those. But man, some of those dudes like that, I thought there was a bigger gentleman that I didn't think was going to cry at all, but his face totally broke. He was done. He was just like, oh, this is amazing. That's the power of teachers, man. The power of people believing in you. And it kind of comes back to our when we were talking last week about, follow your dream. And I was thinking, what if my son said, I don't want to go to college. I want to be an artist. I want to paint, and I don't want to get a degree to paint. I think before seeing this video, I might be like, just go get a degree and then you could use your art to, then you could use your art to do whatever, teach, make money, and then do art. But after this, I'm like, what does someone believing in you change in your life? Like super believing in you, thinking you could just touch the sky. What does that change? If you're like, yes, do it. I will support you in every way you do. If that makes you happy, go do it. And I know you can do it. I know everything is going to. Does that change a kid where it's just like, okay, I can do this? All right. Or are we supposed to be like, no, get an accounting degree and then just do art on the side?
I can tell you from my own personal experience that
yes.
I was sort of both voices, because whereas my parents were supportive of me going to school, they didn't truly give me any guidance. And I don't mean that
yes.
as a knock to my parents. It was just that wasn't the part of the communication we were having at that time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I was actually the first person in my family, in my immediate family, to go to college. So
holy crap!
Yeah, that's just the way it was, And
wow,
they worked their asses off, and
yes.
they became great people. They still are. At least my father's deceased, but my mom's still a great person, But I was kind of like that voice in my head. I had a duality going on because I really wanted to pursue entertainment. I wanted to pursue music. I wanted to move away, and I never did. I never gave myself that shot. I sort of felt like I had to follow suit and become the responsible man and learn how to be the breadwinner and get a career. And I just wanted to do all that right away. I didn't have the best high school experience. You know what I mean? I wasn't very studious. I was super smart. I really was super smart, but I just didn't apply myself, and so I kind of forced myself to go into that. But what I'm getting at is, now that I have children of my own, I'm like, by all means, pursue your dreams. Because you know what? You might fall flat. You might absolutely fall flat on your face, and this may pan out to be nothing. But at least you tried. And at least you're not going to live your life going, man, what would have happened if I wouldn't have done that? Maybe where would I be right now?
I do have a question.
What's up?
What are both of your parents Hispanic?
Yes, I think. The reason I say that, man, is like, as you've told me before. Yeah, the reason you've told me this before. Lots of people have told me this. They're like, what if they can't quite put my finger on what you look like. A lot of people think I look white. Some people think I look Middle Eastern. Some people think, I mean, I've heard it all.
Yes.
So I'm actually going to do that 23andMe test. I know we talked about that before.
Yes.
But I'm curious. I want to see exactly what it is. So.
Well, see, the reason I ask is I've noticed that people of color, the parents have to approach life differently because they think you only have one shot. And if you fail, it's over. We have one shot in America. And if you fail, it's over. So you need to go to college and dot all your I's and cross all your T's. Do what you want, but you got one shot to fail. Whereas I think when you're a white person, it's kind of like, fail all you want. What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst? Go out there and shoot for the stars. And I think we need to start taking that action. Be like, you know what? Fail. Go out and fail. What's the worst that could happen? I think that'll change their view. But my thing is, even in my brain, I'm like, oh no, my son can't fail out there because he gets one shot. And if you fail, everything's over for him. I need to stop thinking like that. I don't think
that's, yeah, I think you do. I really do think that you should stop thinking like that. I mean, I think I think that's an old train of thought.
Yes, dude. Yes.
It's bred into us in some aspect. I mean, I don't necessarily feel like my parents were that way. Like I said, they were just kind of like, well, okay, I'm going to do that. Okay, that's cool. Well, I think I'm going to do this now. Okay. It was this kind of how it was. But I think that these days with all of the, all these entrepreneurs that are coming out and they're making big names in themselves. You know why? Because they're taking chances.
Yes.
They're putting themselves out there and sometimes they're failing and other times you end up with something like Miranda Sings. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's true. That's true.
I mean,
that's true.
Love her or hate her, she's on Netflix now, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, Miranda Sings is a alter ego of an actress by the name of Colleen Ballinger, who started just a few years ago with this kooky character called Miranda Sings, who thinks she's a total talent, but there's no talent in her whatsoever. A quick reference would be to go to Netflix. You can actually see that. But it started off on YouTube.
Yes.
And then she started touring. And then suddenly she's freaking on like Jimmy Fallon. And the next thing you know, she's on Netflix. So, I mean, it works. Sometimes it pays off to pursue your dreams. So I just don't think that that's the way that we should be teaching our kids now. You know what I mean? I think that it's up to them. I mean, you can always guide them. You can always give them your opinion. But just because your life panned out that way, not you, Steve, but just in general, just because your life panned out that way doesn't mean that theirs are, rather. And I don't know. I think it's good to let your kids take chances, man. I think that's what this world needs is some innovation and some imagination.
I totally agree with that. And
we're going deep this week.
Dude, I think like what you're doing with your daughter is so important. Like when you're like, she's interested in this and then she's interested in that. I just read a very cool, I didn't read the interview I want to talk about. I listened to an interview with a person that wrote a biography on Da Vinci. And he was talking about what made Da Vinci so amazing is that he had interests in everything and was great at a million different things. He didn't just do one thing. He did a bunch of different things well. And they said more people need to start exploring everything that they're interested in and then do a million different things. That's what makes a person a complete person. So often we like, okay, but what are you going to focus on? We started doing that. The philosophers were interested in a million things. No one was just like, yeah, but what is your main focus? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm interested in everything. Like, why do I have to have a main thing? I think it's so important to have a million, say your daughter's going to be good at guitar and then good at this and then good at that. Maybe all of that does circle into one thing, but you're letting her be interested in so many different things that I think that she'll slowly come into whatever, if it's supposed to be one thing. And I need to get that mindset where it's just like, be interested in everything you want. No one's going to, what's the word? I mean, imagine somebody would have told Prince, why don't you just concentrate on one instrument? Why don't you just be really good at one? And he was like, no, what if I just want to learn everything? I want to learn all of them and see where that got him. I don't know. I hope maybe someone listening can give me a story of someone who mastered a lot or not mastered it, was great at a lot of different things. And it was to their detriment. Tell me that story and I'll believe you. But I guarantee they wouldn't think it was to their detriment. They would be like, I don't care that I live in a shack on the side of Iceland. It still was dope that I can do all these things well,
My son is currently in college in his freshman year, and he's pursuing a degree in music education.
Yes.
And quite honestly, it's kind of a risky time to be pursuing the arts, in school. when there's a very good chance that this man may take everything away. Eventually it might happen, you know? So my son's essentially taking a gamble, but he's super bright. He's super talented. And he's following his dream. Yes. And who am I to take that from him? You know what I mean? I do always tell him, just like any father should, you know, have a backup plan. You should have a backup plan. Mm-hmm. But I'm watching him succeed. I'm watching him grow, and I'm watching him become happy, just like I'm watching my daughter do that too. So what do you say we talk some nerdy shit today?
You know what? You're right. Let's get this thing going. But I appreciate everybody listening to our ramblings, and I hope you got something out of it. But what we do here at Heroes of Noise is we start out with the what you're watching, what you're reading, what you're listening to, and then we try to end off with a little bit of a discussion. Today's discussion is yet to be told to you. We're going to go ahead and start off with the brother Dan. What have you been watching, reading, or listening to?
Let's see. Where can we start off here? Well, starting off the week, Steve, I watched Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond, featuring a very special, contractually obligated mention of Tony Clifton. That's the full title, by the way. This breaks down the making of a movie that came out 20 years ago called Man in the Moon, which is basically a biopic of Andy Kaufman, the comedian.
Yes.
And it's got, I think it was Courtney Love was in it. It even brought back Danny DeVito was in it. Paul Giamatti was in it. And God, I mean, actually, there was quite a few other people. And Judd Hirsch reprised his role from Taxi.
Yes.
You know, a ton of people are in this movie. But what this movie is about is basically Jim being Jim and method acting and taking on, like, full-time taking on the role of Andy Kaufman, or Tony Clifton for that matter, the entire time the movie was done. They had 20 years of footage that they almost didn't get to put out. The studio was like, oh no, we don't want, do you remember that part? They were like, nah, we don't want, this is all our property. I'm not all the way through it yet. I actually had to stop it a little bit in, so I've got a little bit more to go.
Adding to what you just said, Universal said, no, we don't want you putting out this video because we don't want Jim Carrey looking like an a-hole. And I have
literally, that's what they said.
Yes. They were right. They were totally and utterly right. Whoever saw this footage was like, oh no. We know
he totally does look like an asshole in this movie.
Totally. And I don't think he sees it. I genuinely don't.
It gave me the impression that he is the embodiment of a self-centered actor. It's all about Jim. He gave zero fucks about anyone in this movie except for Jim or Andy or Tony, you know? It was very interesting because I liked how he was saying how, like, when it first happened, you know, he said he was like looking out at the ocean, just found out he got it, and suddenly Andy just appeared. Mm-hmm. That's very
Jim Carrey that I've seen it.
It's just very Jim, yeah. But I mean, you know, you get people like Jared Leto or Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln. Jared Leto for Joker is what I was getting at, where they take on this role the entire time. I don't know, man. I think I'd want to punch somebody if I was working with them.
Remember, he told them not to call him Jim.
Yeah.
You can only call me Andy.
Hey, I'm a huge fan of yours. Oh, okay, I'll tell Jim if I see him. You know, it was just, to people that weren't expecting that, they're like, oh, okay.
And then there's a part where he's Andy Kaufman, and he's doing his thing, and he's like, oh, I got to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. Oh, never mind. Tomorrow, Tony Clifton's shooting, so I get to sleep in. I'm like, I'm done with you. I would have walked off the set right then and been like, okay, so I'm gone. This is ridiculous. You can be a good actor and just not do this thing. Like I told you earlier, there's a reason they didn't talk to the gaffers and the sound people, because they would probably be like, oh, he's a douche. It's that simple, dude. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. You know, whereas the actors kind of have to bite their tongue. Judd Hirsch wanted to say more, but he didn't. Danny DeVito kind of was shaking his head like, what on earth is going on here? And the one thing that they did appreciate was, I mean, on the Taxi set, that's when you saw them being like, you know, it is weird. It's like we're having him back. This is exactly how Andy Kaufman used to act. And I don't think they meant that as a compliment. He said, this is what Andy used to do. And it didn't seem like one of those where they're like, oh, it's so great. This is what Andy used to do. It was just like,
we're doing this all over again. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that the director, Spike Jonze didn't direct it, but I think he's smart to leave stuff like that in so we could kind of dive into what it really meant, where it's just like, it's like we're living with him all over again. But what I found gross was there was a part where his family came in.
I was going to talk about that. Go ahead, man, because wow.
It's gross, dude.
I would think that Jim would have the courtesy turn off.
Yes.
During that part where it's like, hi, my son died. I believe it was of cancer. Isn't that how Andy Kaufman died? Yeah. And my son died of cancer. And, this is probably still hurting, even though it's been forever that he's been dead. But still, so I'm going to completely accept this guy, Jim Carrey, to take on the persona of my son in the movies. Okay, that's one thing. That's a gig. But now you're talking to me like Andy, and you're not stopping.
Ugh.
But the weirder part was they were buying into it.
Totally. They accepted it and said, oh, this is a way of getting closure. The problem is, why even, because you don't know what that means for them later on. Is a psychologist going to say, you know what, that was healthy, you doing it that way? Or are they going to be like, oh, that's not, yeah, exactly. A psychologist might be like, that really wasn't him. And is that the him you would want him to be? Or, does it make it easier for you to get closure from that thing? I didn't like it at all.
Would Andy have actually said those things?
Thank you.
Were they getting that version? I think that's what you were kind of touching on right there.
Exactly.
But would Andy actually say those things to them? And was it Jim's weird way of thinking that already and being like, I'm going to go ahead and give them what I think they need? It blew my mind, man. That was probably the weirdest part of the whole thing, actually, was watching him talk to Andy Kaufman's sister.
Ugh.
It was crazy. Now, that said, I found this documentary completely interesting. I had to stop it because I had to stop it. You know what I mean? Like, I had to go and do something like that. Otherwise, I would have watched it all the way through. The weekend got away from me. As I told you, I was watching so many other things. And so I'm actually going to come back to that tonight and finish it. I may even start it over because my wife Gail needs to see how crazy this man is or was.
It's insane.
I guess he's still crazy. I don't know what's up with Jim. I know he's an amazing artist. Have you ever seen his artwork?
Oh, I didn't. I didn't know he did artwork.
Oh, dude. No joke. I'll have to send you a link.
For sure.
No joke. The man is talented, super talented. Like, he could just stop acting right now and just live off of his art. He's that.
Yet another person who has different interests. I'm good at a million different things. I just happen, and here's another thing that bugged me. When he was talking about his coming up, I don't think In Living Color got the props it should have gotten. Because I didn't know who Jim Carrey was before The Living Color.
Do you mean on the documentary?
Yes. He was talking about a lot of different things. And he was like, anyway, I was on my come up. I think it was during the time of A Living Color. And this thing happened. I said, no. That is literally what skyrocketed you, Jay. No one thought about Jim Carrey until that show. But
I agree with you. But, if they were to go down that road in that particular documentary,
that's hard.
That's a whole nother movie.
That is, you know what? They could make a movie on A Living Color. They could actually make a movie on all the people that rotated through that show. They totally could. And Jim Carrey was crazy. Jim Carrey, I used to be like, man, this guy is so talented. But I'm sure everyone saw that when he became famous, he was going to be an interesting beast. He was going to be a different guy.
I think basically he was always this way. But once, he made a name for himself, there were no boundaries anymore. He was just able to do whatever the hell Jim Carrey wanted to do, and he was going to push it to the limit.
That's true.
To see for himself what he could do, I want to see what happens in another 20 years when who's going to play Jim Carrey, because that dude needs a movie. Like, I would love to know about Jim Carrey. He's actually a very interesting guy. He came up poor. I mean, I think you've probably heard this whole story before, but I would like to see how he wrote that $10 million check to himself.
That was actually very smart. And the dope thing is, like, there's the thing with writing that check, though, or writing things down, because like Michael Jackson wrote down that he was going to have the highest selling album of all time. But the next thing he wrote down was, Thriller, whatever, I'm going to sell 1 billion albums on the next one. He died, but who knows? You know what I'm saying? Who knows what he would, but again, it was because he wrote something down saying, I'm going to do this. And Jim Carrey wrote this down saying, I'm going to do this. And he did it. I think there's a thing with writing something down saying, I'm going to do this. You know what I'm saying? What is your goal? What do you want from each thing in your life? How many listeners do you want in your podcast? What is your goal for the end of the year? Like, writing it down and seeing how close or how much you surpassed that goal.
I'm going to write a note. Our goal, Steve. I want you to write one too, and then we'll compare.
I will.
Our goal for where we want to be in 2 years with this podcast.
You know what I do is, funny word. I write a Post-it to myself of a good thing that happened every day, and I put it in a protein bottle thing that's empty, and I empty it at the end of the year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I read through them. Yeah. And I'll remember. I'll be like, oh, snap, that did. I'll put the date and one good thing that happened that day.
How long have you been doing this?
Just a year and a half.
So you've actually looked once already?
Yes. And some of the things I totally forgot. I was like, oh, that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Not to sound like a smart ass, but I'm curious, how'd that pan out for you? Did you meet a lot of those goals?
Yeah. It wasn't even goals. All I wrote, it was a thing for me to appreciate every day. Because it's been proven that if you recognize one good thing that happened to you during the day, it makes your day better.
Oh, I'm sorry, Steve. I got fixated on the whole, like, kind of like what you were talking about with, but so you're just taking one good thought. That's it. A day. One good thing that happened that day. Oh, I talked to Dan and we had a really fun conversation. Wrap it up in a note, put it in a bottle. And then at the end of the day, at the end of the year, you dump them out and just go randomly through them and appreciate it. You know what's kind of cool about that? Let's just say let's say someone's doing that. Yes. And suddenly they fall into a depression. Yes. Hey, now I've never been clinically depressed that I know of, but I know in some of my darker times, there have been those moments where I'm just like, there's nothing, you know? And that would be a really good way for people to go back and go, no, see, it's not nothing. All of these things, don't forget about these things. That's because they're still there. They still happen. That's a really good idea, man. And even like, say a loved one passes. And at the end of the year, you're going through your notes and been like, I told such and such I loved him on this day and had a hug. We had a really good time. That's a moment you're like, oh, we did have a good time. And then they pass later on. But that day happened. Oh, I forgot about that. But it will remind you, oh, that day happened. That's right. You know, it's not just I think we had a really good year before she passed or he passed. That's a note saying, no, on this day, we walked the park and had a really good conversation. And you're like, oh, it happened because I wrote it down. That happened. That is very cool. That's very cool, man. I'm going to have to start copying the habits of Steve. I really like that. Oh, I appreciate that. I do. Seriously. I'm not just saying some stupid shit. That's a great idea. So I appreciate that. Good. Hey, man. I draw my influence from you. So yeah, that's basically, that's it for movie. This one. It was a good movie. I recommend if you have any interest in Jim Carrey whatsoever, folks, watch this movie. It's a nice little insight into the mind of Jim Carrey, obviously, but is this guy crazy? Is he genius? Is he just an asshole? I think he's a genius. Unfortunately, I have to go. Even though he's whatever he is, I think he's a genius. I've never laughed. Not never. I very rarely laugh at people constantly. In Dumb and Dumber, I laughed at him over and over and over again, dude. He knows how to poke. Like, remember there was a quote where he said, I'm on stage and I'm thinking, what do those people want? What do they want? What do they want from me? What do they want from me? That's how he does it. He can literally know what will make you laugh and keep poking that thing. And it works. It works. He comes off crazy, but crazy equals genius sometimes. So even on like Dumb and Dumber, when he walks in with his new suit, most people would have just walked in and people would be like, ah, ha, ha, ha. But then he does that tap dance, G. He knew exactly how to take it from funny to the next level of funny, where it's just like that stupid tap dance, and then you're just falling out laughing, G. It's so funny. I've just always been amazed by how quick he is. I mean, if that's anything, he's just quick. He can morph into anything at any time. And he's, at least from the footage that I've seen, it's not like I'm going out and hanging out with Jim Carrey, but from what I've seen, the man can just shapeshift almost, Totally. And just to bring the product. And he brings it well most of the time. So yeah, folks, check it out. Yeah, please, definitely. What else you been watching? It's real quick. That movie was directed by Chris Smith. Just want to give a little credit to that there. So good job, Chris Smith. That is the most normal name ever. Right? Yeah, that's okay. He's no Taika Waititi, but exactly. I'll take Chris Smith, Do it. What else was I into this week? I kind of wanted... Oh, yeah. So I started watching The Punisher on Friday. Yeah. Right after work. About that. Yeah. I am only... because I told you, I've been watching a lot of things. Busy this weekend. I was out of town all day yesterday. I came back last night and tried to watch a little bit more. So far, so good. I think it's going to be good. It's definitely better than Iron Fist from what I can tell. but it seems to me like just off the jump, and maybe I'm going to be completely wrong about this, and I'll talk about it next week and correct myself. It seems like the way they're doing it, 2 episodes could have really been 1 episode. Do you know what I mean? Like they're starting to kind of stretch out things, but
yes.
I like the story. Lots of flashbacks, and that's what I'm getting at. I think that okay, we get it. Maybe not everyone gets it, obviously, but you gotta figure out what made Frank Castle.
Of course,
and so there's lots of flashbacks. Just right out the gate. There's that. And to me, it seems like they kind of could have condensed that a little bit. Maybe that's just because they want. I think there's 13 episodes. Maybe they could have done it. Maybe they could have done it in 9. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I have no idea what's going to happen at the end of this here. So I'm still in. I'm still very interested, and I'm going to keep going. But Jon Bernthal is awesome. I know you weren't big on him as the Punisher because of his size.
Yes.
But I think he's killing it so far. I really like his character. I like the character that he plays. So I'm fully into this here, and I look forward to finishing up with it.
I can't wait. I'm going to check it out.
What else? Let's see.
You told me about one thing that I was very interested in.
Oh, yeah, I'm getting there, too. I was deciding on whether I wanted to talk about this trailer I saw first, but the other one's more fun, so I'm going to go ahead and go with that. I've heard about this show about 6 months ago, and I was cruising around on Hulu the other night, and I don't even know how it popped up, but I stumbled on My Hero Academia. I love this show, Steve. I freaking love this show. It's now, like I'd said on the last one, I was talking about Your Name. I'm not a big anime guy. Never have been, and quite honestly, I think maybe just because I was so not wanting to be attentive to it, that there's a lot of things that draw me back from watching anime. Mm-hmm. The mannerisms, if you don't watch it, it's hard to explain. But it's just, the wow, yes. I don't even know how to visualize
and
this.
I totally you totally get used to it. And like when they're shocked, their whole face changes into a weird face that's not even like their face.
Yeah.
And I like it though. I had to get used to it though.
It's definitely something that you have to get used to. Thank you for filling that in because I didn't really know how to explain that, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anime is just a different beast, but I think for the longest time, I was so busy paying attention to the animation of it and the mannerisms, I wasn't really getting the story. And I really like this story, man. Okay. Can I kind of tell you what it's about a little bit here?
Go for
just
it.
a real quick one.
I'm very interested because it's a weird name. My Hero Academia.
It is interesting. I'll give you just a quick little summary of it here. It says, in a world populated with superhumans, the superhero-loving Izuku Midoriya is without power, or quirk as they call it. However, after the quirkless dreamer, Izuku inherits the power of the world's best superhero, All Might. I love All Might, by the way. And the take on All Might, or the little twist with him, is awesome. His hopes of becoming the top hero are now possible. Once enrolled in the high school for heroes, UA, Izuku soon discovers being a hero is much more complicated than it appears. So that's basically what this is about. There's 2 seasons of it. I was watching the dubbed version, which I hear is, blasphemy from anime fans, but I like it. I like it. I think what it is, it's my gateway into getting more into anime is by watching the dubbed, copies of it. But the story is great, man. And it looks, I don't know, I don't know where this plays. I don't know if it's a show meant for children. I assume it is, but the storyline is awesome. And it held I was lost in it for about 3 episodes. I tend to watch things late at night, as you know, my work schedule. But I was completely just consumed with watching My Hero Academia. I think you'll like it a lot. I other than the plot, I don't really want to give too much to it, but the characters are they're super strong. They're not forgettable. And you just tend to really bond with Izuku as well as All Might, because I love where All Might's coming from and the little plot twist with him. So I'm very curious to see what you think about that. Do you plan on watching that anytime soon? You said you were going to watch it.
I'm probably going to watch that before Punisher.
Well, just know that there's 2 seasons of My Hero Academia.
Oh yeah, but I know that the Punisher is going to be there. Who knows when Hulu pulls stuff? I don't think Netflix is not going to pull an original.
This is true, but I guess it's real popular from what I'm understanding.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't think that I'm blowing some of the minds out there. I'm sure people are like, yeah, it's been around for a while, but to me, it's new. And that's what it's about.
I always worry about that. Yeah, I always worry about them pulling, because what if they go to Crunchyroll? They might pull an anime to Crunchyroll. I don't know how that works, but I get worried about that. So I'm just like, let me make sure I watch that.
Have you ever looked into Crunchyroll? I've been kind of thinking about that lately.
I don't know if I imagine I don't know if I like an anime fan to that level. I think I would have to, in order for me to pay for an anime exclusive thing, I would have to really be in it, because I love horror and I haven't even paid for Shudder.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just feel like, I don't know, I guess because I'm just getting anime and little, it's weird that it's happened in the last couple of weeks, you know what I mean? But I'm just getting these little drops of anime now and I'm like, oh shit, this is actually pretty cool. I'm wondering if that's how I'm going to get into it more.
That's a good...
Like I need another freaking show to watch, but you know what I mean? But real. It's just, yeah, but it's just, it blew my mind. I really like this one a lot. The animation itself, and I know guys, I'm probably not using all of the proper terms. I think that this is, I was reading something that this is considered something called shounen, I believe, is the type of anime that it is. Okay. I know there's like manga and all that. And I'll be honest with you, I don't get it. This show has never ever been about bringing you the latest and the greatest. This is what we're into. You know what I mean? If it so happens to be that it's new, awesome, fantastic. But this is, it's like think of the show as the education of Steve and Dan, you know,
yes,
and what we're into. So I am fully into this right now and I just cannot wait to watch more. I'm probably going to just end up staying late tonight and probably just alternating shows. I don't know exactly how I should do it. Maybe I should just finish one and then go on. But I'm so into these various shows. Another one of which I'm about to talk about that I know you've seen. I don't know what to do, man. I just found all this goodness this week and I'm trying to figure out how to fit it all in. So good thing the holidays are coming up.
Well, if you are really wanting to dig into like anime, I'd recommend Death Note and Naruto.
I have seen Death Note. I read that somebody had the opinion that this one's like the next Naruto, but I got nothing to compare it to. I've never seen Naruto before, but I am quite familiar with Death Note.
It's an interesting I mean, I'm taking it in bits and pieces. I think it's very, you know, that thing where you're just like, they scream and there's a reaction face. It's a lot in Naruto. Well,
I would say that that's pretty much prominent in this one too.
Oh, okay.
I guess that's just how it gets down in anime. I just don't have enough. I don't have enough info in my database to really like wax about it. But I can tell you that at one point, whenever I would see that, I would be completely annoyed and turned off by it. And for some reason, this just held my interest so much. I know my man Pat Houlihan watched it. I had mentioned on Twitter that I just happened to fall on this show. And it's like, oh great, now I've got another show to watch. And he's like, it's just so good. And I think you're gonna feel the same way. So
I'm all over it.
Get watching, brother. Get watching.
Done.
What am I into this week? What else? Oh, let's talk about one that's really fun, and I know you loved it too. I think you're finished. I am not finished with it yet. On Hulu, Seth Rogen's new masterpiece, and yes, I'm calling it a freaking masterpiece.
Oh,
Future Man.
That's a heck of a statement. Future Man is a masterpiece.
Okay, let's not get kooky with the masterpiece. Let's not get all pretentious artsy with it. But as far my definition of masterpiece is, it made me I was dying laughing at this. Like belly laughing. I thought it was really funny.
Totally.
Tell you what, Seth, don't get too cocky. I'll take back masterpiece. This is one of my favorite shows on television right now, and I'm not all the way through. It might actually be my favorite show on television right now. My wife and I sat down and watched this right when it came out, and I was just dying the entire time. And she won't let me go any further until she's with me. So I'm like, we're stuck right now. I have to wait for her and to finish watching it. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe I'll watch that one tonight. I don't know, dude. So much good stuff to watch. But let's talk a little Future Man. What did you think?
Dude, it hit the ground running, man. Like it was going. It didn't do the typical, this is how a nerd is. No. I think it took an obvious idea. You know what I'm saying? It took an idea that's been done before, but they did the same sort of thing where like, yeah, we get it. It's been done before. We're going to put our spin on it. I mean, they took it right in the beginning, which it's like the Groundhog Day with Happy Death Day. Just because you mention it does not mean that you're just not totally siphoning. But they did siphon well. I'll give them that. I'm like, hey, if you're going to do it, you did it well. And there is a joke in this show that I don't want to ruin for you guys, that it talks about what happened in the past. It does it so funny. I think everyone's going to eventually hear it, but man, they're hitting on so many like little throwaway lines that Seth Rogen puts in here is so good, dude. I love they narrate their fights with like video game noises, like head hit, shoulder punch, head slap,
and him.
It is so good. And I know, Dan, you were really excited to see Wolf again, weren't you?
I think the cast is freaking brilliant. Let's talk about them just for a second here. Hey, getting back to what you were saying, though, I had read that Seth Rogen had tried to make the movie The Last Starfighter. It's kind of based off, and they even give a nod to it in the show.
Yeah,
he was trying to get,
did.
Yeah, he was trying to get the rights to The Last Starfighter for a very long time, and they just wouldn't give it to him. So he just decided, okay, cool, well, I'm just going to go ahead and do a spin on that and give a nod to it. So that's why there's a little bit of a similarity to it. I love all of the retro throwbacks that they have there. I love this damn show. I think that Seth Rogen just keeps getting stronger and stronger on television. And I'm really hoping that this is going to be even more true when The Boys comes out. But yeah, it stars Josh Hutcherson, who you may know as Peeta from Hunger Games. Yes. And then like you're saying, Wolf. Let's talk about Wolf for a second. Wolf is played by Derek Wilson. Derek Wilson was on Preacher, and he played Donnie Shank. And I do not think this man... I could not stand him when he first came out. I thought he was just going to be a throwaway character. And as the show progressed, season 1, he's only in season 1. I won't tell you why, but you should probably know. And he just kept getting better and better, but they weren't really giving him many. I don't blame anyone for it or anything, but he just didn't have many lines. He was this great character that was mostly silent all the time. So I was really happy to see that Derek Wilson gets to shine on this. I think that he is absolutely the star of this show.
Yes,
and
totally.
You know, I don't know if they should come up with some kind of award show where it's like stream. I know it probably would just be like fall into like the Emmys, but like streaming category, streaming shows. Dude needs an award because he just absolutely smashes this character. I had no idea Derek Wilson was this good. Eliza Coupe is also in Future Man. She plays Tiger. Basically, all the people from the future. I don't know. Can we give a little plot, right?
Yeah, of course.
Give a little bit of plot. Yeah, let's give a little bit of a plot here. I'm not even going to read anything. I'm just going to give it my take. So Josh Fuderman is a janitor, and he lives with his parents, and his parents just love the crap out of him. They think that he can do no wrong. But, you know, quite honestly, he's not living the way an adult should live. He doesn't have much in his life outside of this video game. That's his deal. That's what he does. He's awesome at it, and that's all he does is play this damn game. Like, they don't even make it anymore, but he's still playing this game. Turns out that when he beats the game, it was something that was actually brought back into time, so that way they could do a test and see who is like the savior, the chosen one, if you will. Turns out that it's Josh Fuderman. They come back, they get him because they think that he's going to help, and I don't want to give the plot of why they want him to go back, why they want him to save the world, because that's funny in itself. But
I love, in the beginning they introduce him as Fuderman, and right when they said Fuderman, I was like, actually, that's pretty freaking interesting. Like,
nice play on words, right?
Yes, I was like, Fuderman, that's so, and I love how he has his own little video game setup in his janitor's closet. It is so, I'm like, but he still doesn't seem creepy with the game. He still doesn't be like, oh, he's just so nerdy he can't get away from the game. He just seems very
that's what he does.
Dedicated. That's
his life.
This is his thing. This is what he does. It's not creepy or anything. Now he does do one weird thing, but other than that, I'm just like, I was like, and I just think that both of the Tiger and Wolf are just right on point. And Keith David, I mean, anytime you see Keith David, it's going to be a fantastic show. I mean, I don't know how they got Keith David, and let alone how they use Keith David on this show. I'll tell you this. It's reminiscent of Something About Mary, Keith David.
Keith David playing Dr. Elias Cronish, who
yes.
What's really cool about this is that even though he's not the main star of this show, it totally revolves around him.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I mean, at least as far as I've gotten, you know, I think I'm on like episode 7, if I'm not mistaken.
Totally. And if you liked him in Something About Mary, you'll love him in this, because this is how he's acting. He's acting Something About Mary-ish.
Keith David almost has like a co-star with him on his face.
Oh, yes. Very interesting.
Also a big plot. I don't want to talk about the thing on his face, but that's part of the show. Folks, you need to watch this show. That's the best thing I can tell you. You need to just get yourself a free... If you don't have Hulu, do the free month. Right now is the time to do it, and watch Future Man. It's freaking brilliant. Love this show so much. But again, yeah, Derek Wilson absolutely smashes his role as Wolf in this one. Josh Hutcherson Josh Fuderman is awesome in this too. I didn't even realize that the kid had the chops that he had. I think he's great in this show. It's not anything where it's like drama. He's more like comedy chops is what I'm getting at. He's really funny. The show also has Ed Begley Jr. And who else was there? I feel like I saw a couple of other like big name people outside of Keith David in that one there, but it's not coming to me. Watch the show, folks. That's what I'm getting at. You're going to love it. I promise you.
For sure. I liked it so far. I can't wait to finish it.
Any highlights so far that you liked in that? Like
that one joke that I can't ruin for everybody. That's the highlight by far.
That's your highlight?
Yes, by far.
I just
can't ruin it though.
I thought the visual of when Josh meets Wolf and Tiger for the very first time was hilarious.
It really was, dude.
And there's also this scene involving meth that made me laugh, like belly laugh. It has to do with the character Wolf, Derek Wilson. So I'm all about this show. I've been raving about it on Twitter for a while. It's really hard for me to explain this show without giving too many spoilers because I loved it so much. But get down right now, hit pause, go watch Future Man, come back, and we'll keep on going.
For sure.
Let's see, do I have anything else?
What else have you been
watching? The last thing that I'm going to talk about before we go into I saw the Justice League, but I don't want to go there just yet. All right, I saw that. I just got out of that theater yesterday, and I'm not going to give you any opinions yet, but I saw Justice League. And I'm going to stop right there. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was, it was just an interesting trailer that I saw. It's a trailer called England is Mine. And it is the biopic. I love rock biopics, first of all. Mm-hmm. This one is actually going to be coming to, it's already on Blu-ray and DVD from what I understand, but it's going to be coming stateside on December 12th. And you can get it in a digital platform too. It is the story of the singer Morrissey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a story about Morrissey and just how he comes up. And the trailer is online right now. I found it interesting. It didn't have anything really, like if you picture Morrissey. You know who I'm talking about when I say Morrissey? You know yes, Morrissey. Of course you do.
That's in trouble right now? Yes.
Is he in trouble right now?
Yeah, he defended Kevin Spacey.
Really?
Yes.
Scratch that. No, I'm just kidding. I still found it. It interesting. You know, I mean, it's just crazy. It's like, who are we going to talk about now? Pretty soon we're going to be like, well, we watched this show, but we can't talk about it because there's some really dark shit going down right now.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of celebrities, I guess, are defending people and kind of having to eat their words or own it and become pariahs, you know. But
yes, it's one or the other.
Yeah, but you know, that's besides the point in this. We're talking about England is Mine, and it is the 2017 Morrissey biopic. I just found it interesting. I'm not even a huge Morrissey fan. I liked the Smiths, not a big Morrissey fan, but it is something that I'll watch. I've watched a lot of rock docs, and they're not rock docs, I'm sorry, but biopics, and a lot of times they don't pan out very well. I have no idea what to make of this one just yet, but I'm definitely there. I'm definitely going to watch it. I mean, I remember when back in the day when it was when they made The Doors, Oliver Stone made The Doors. Mm-hmm. I was thinking, oh, I'm all about this one. I freaking love Jim Morrison. I wasn't really into that movie. So who knows what's going to happen with this one. There was the other one that was that Jimi Hendrix biopic that was starring Andre 3000. Did you see that?
I didn't watch it. How was it?
Again, not good. It was just very...
Oh, okay.
I wanted to see a certain aspect of Jimi Hendrix. I wanted to see how he came up the first time he played a riff, you know, how he came up with Purple Haze or whatever. Yes. And this was just more about it was like a love story almost. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I just, you know, I didn't really care for it. But what I'm saying is I'm hoping, I have good hopes for this one. I do love a good rock biopic, and we'll see how it goes.
Awesome, dude.
What about you, man?
Well, other than the ones you've mentioned, I watched, last night I watched John Wick 2. I'm on the Late Show. But dude, if you haven't seen John Wick 2, and if you're in the mood for some fun and John Wick being at his John Wickness, watch this freaking movie.
His John Wickiest?
His John Wickiest. And I'm telling you, like the fight scenes, it's Keanu Reeves doing these fights, dude. It's back to the Matrix. It's back to the Matrix. It is so crazy. Some of these fight scenes are insane, dude. Absolutely insane. And the way he's shooting, like, it's just, man. Like, I'm sure he went through, I've seen some videos of his training that he did for this movie. It's just so much fun, dude. It's a fun, and when it ends, you know how there's certain movies that you're just like, all right, when is this gonna, come on now, let's go. When this movie ends, you're like, oh man, I could have watched 2 more hours of this. For sure.
I love John Wick. I just have not seen that one yet. But I understand that they're already doing a John Wick 3.
It makes total sense.
I think it's coming out in 2019. So yeah, I better get on it and watch this one here. I know it's been out for a little bit, but you liked it. That's good.
Loved it, dude. Loved it. So I watched that. I started on this silly show called Riverdale.
It's not so silly, man.
I mean, the writing is horrible. The
It's
acting
silly.
is not great. And yet I keep pushing another episode.
I know, Steve, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I know exactly what you mean about Riverdale.
Dude.
When I first heard the premise of this, I'm thinking, okay, it's a CW take on Archie, the comic Archie.
Yes.
I'm thinking, oh man, they're really, really running out of ideas right now. But I sat and I watched it. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought the girl that plays Veronica was super pretty, and that's probably the reason that I sat down and watched this show. But I found myself the same way. I like motored through the season. Like,
you watched the whole season?
Hold on. No, I think how many episodes are on that one there? I think I'm just about done. I think I have 2 episodes left.
Okay.
But I just again, I'm in this bad habit. Matter of fact, I'm gonna turn my behavior right now, and I'm gonna start finishing these shows before I talk about them. I think that's fair, so I can give how I felt at the beginning.
I haven't finished it either.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. But you're going to, right? Mm-hmm. It's like this guilty pleasure show. I don't think I ever would have admitted that until you brought it up right now, so I'm glad you did. I think I kind of hate it.
Yeah, dude, totally.
I hate to love it is what it is.
Yes, that is totally what's going on with me right now. It is to the point of why I literally, when I see, are you still watching this? I look at my TV, the Apple TV, and be like, yeah, but why? Why am I still watching this? And play. Yeah,
it's another teens behaving badly kind of show.
Yes.
But it's so bad good.
90210 again. Yeah, it's just so
just so damn bad good. I can't take it. I'm definitely gonna finish. And there's already season 2, right?
Yes. And the issue, dude. Okay, 2 issues. Number 1, I don't even think about the Archie comics anymore. I forget that it's even about the Archie comics.
Yeah, that's easy to do.
I totally forgot.
They needed some kind of reference, and then it just took off from there.
And then here's where I realized that why am I watching this is when Veronica calls Archie Archiekins, and I was like, why am I watching this show?
Did you feel a little creepy when she said Archiekins?
Yes, I was like, I shouldn't be. I'm entirely too old to be watching this. What am I doing? But I keep watching it nevertheless. And so, hey, if you're doing something, perhaps knitting.
Knitting.
And you need something to watch on TV, turn on Riverdale.
So, Steve, now I have to ask, bro, because that's like the first thing that you came up. Now, that's cool if that's what you like. Were you, in fact, as you put it, knitting?
I was not knitting. I wish I would have. I'm to the point of, knitting. I wish I was knitting instead of under my covers with a bag of chocolate caramel popcorn on my stomach. I wish I was knitting and watching the show instead of what I was doing. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
You just gave me this insight into Steve's bedroom.
He was in the living room, Doc.
Chocolate and a blankie for Steve. A little hot cocoa, maybe.
With Riverdale, G. Riverdale.
You're so precious.
Yes. And mind you, but once people have to understand, I've watched every episode of The Vampire Diaries. Every episode of the originals. So Riverdale's not that far off of my radar now. This is right in my wheelhouse. So why I'm acting shocked, I do not know. But I watched every single episode of Vampire Diaries. So, there's that.
Who is Steve Hudson? I still need to find these things out.
Now, would you call Supernatural is it Vampire Diaries adjacent, or would you say no, that's a show most people watch, or?
I would say it's a step up from that.
I
think Supernatural is a little more palpable than, say, Vampire Diaries, which is not something that I watch.
And they push there's some things that happen on Supernatural that I'm like, can you put that on TV? Like, that was gory. That was outright gory just now. I remember the days where decapitations just weren't a thing. You couldn't just cut off someone's head on TV. And now, no problem.
Bro, you have me dying over here, and the reason that I'm laughing is that you the words you choose sometimes are just perfect. For instance, knitting, as you said, it was that. But last week, last week we were talking about Iron Maiden, right?
Yes.
Oh God, I laughed really hard about this when I was editing it. You had mentioned, you're like, so would I be comfy at an Iron Maiden concert? The answer is no. Now that I had the time to think about that, you would absolutely not fucking be comfy at an Iron Maiden concert.
No comfy there.
I just picture you with a nice warm blankie, you know.
Yes, that's me.
Maybe
Seriously.
some Baileys and cocoa, you know.
Yes, totally, dude.
Show.
And I would literally be watching Riverdale, which is a shame. But I would tell people, if you you know what's funny though? The guy actually, whatever song he wrote and he performed for the, and I'm a musician, and he performed for the talent show. I was like, oh snap, that's a legit good song. Like, it was a good song, and he actually sung it well. And most of the time, I'm very like, ugh. But I was like, oh, that's a good. It made me believe, like, you know, he does this song, and in the beginning of the song, people are just like, boo, get back to football, all of his football buddies. At the end, I believe that they would give him a pat on the back being like, hey, you actually are talented. Like, that was the thing. I was like, hey, I believe that. And again, you know, if it's dumb, if you're in for some, I wouldn't even say dumb fun, because now, Skeet Ulrich out of nowhere. Luke Perry out of nowhere.
You just mentioned 90210.
Dude. And I haven't seen Skeet Ulrich since What If As Good As It Gets. I haven't seen Skeet Ulrich since that movie.
It has been a minute, that's for sure.
And so if you're interested in seeing if you find yourself drinking some cocoa wondering, whatever happened to Skeet Ulrich? Turn on Riverdale. If you find yourself thinking, you know what, that Luke Perry was on to something, turn on Riverdale. You'll be fine.
If you find yourself being creepy and into Camila Mendes, who plays Veronica, turn it on. That's all I'm saying.
Pretty,
turn it on.
Man.
She's gorgeous, man. Seriously.
She's pretty, dude. That girl's pretty. But so check it out. And what is another?
Hey, real quick, man. I wanted to talk. Oh, sorry. You can finish your thought, because I wanted to bring something up about Riverdale.
I think there was I think I mean, with those shows, that's about all that took up all of my time. We'll get into what we're reading next, but for shows, that's it.
Hey, hold up real quick. So you were moving on from Riverdale then?
Yes, I'm done with it.
Okay. So let's go back for just a second. What do you think about this? This happened early on in season 1. What do you think about Archie having an affair with his teacher and how they're showing that on television in these times?
I think they cleaned it up later, because they showed her. At first, everybody was like, they tried to make it so that you're supposed to be rooting for them. No one was rooting for them. It got real creepy. And before they kind of handle that this is no way a good thing, they show her leaving and pulling down her glasses to look at some other high school boys. So I'm like, yeah, she was a creep, so she had to leave. I thought they cleaned it up well.
Her and a creepy VW bug.
Yes. And I was like, so she was and I like how they made Betty, who is Archie's best friend, Betty was on to it, be like, dude, if she's into you, she's not good. She's not supposed to be doing this, you know? And finally, one thing I like is that they don't have to bang it over someone's head. Eventually, Archie was like, okay, wait. Why do you have a different name? Why do you do all these things? Why? I don't understand this. It wasn't one of those things where he just kept on brushing his friends off. So they're kind of trying to make as much common sense as possible. Now, Jughead, the actor who plays Jughead, he's really good.
Cole Sprouse.
He's really good. And I don't know where I've seen him before.
I was just going to we were on the same page.
He looks familiar.
Yeah, he should. And you've probably seen him twice, but you've only seen him once. He's actually an identical twin. Do you remember the show?
Yeah. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah. Okay, let's go way back.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
All right.
I just realized who he is. Is he on that one where he's on that cruise ship? That Disney Channel movie show?
I think that they did. Okay, I didn't watch this show, but my daughter did. Yeah. Hold on, I had to pull it up. Okay, so when my daughter, my daughter and my son used to watch this show called...
Yeah.
It's called the show that you're referring to, original, what I'm talking about, was called The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
That's it.
My daughter watched this show like all the time. But then I think the one that you're talking about was called like something like The Sweet Life on Deck, I think is what it was called. So, it was the spinoff because, they needed more of a sweet life. But yeah,
I knew it.
So yeah, but he plays that with his brother. But do you remember the first time, now that you've got the kid's face in your head,
his front teeth gave it away. That's what I was like, man, his teeth look familiar. And I was like, oh, it's the twins. Go on.
Did you ever see Big Daddy?
He was the Big Daddy kid?
He was the Big Daddy kid, yeah.
Or he was one of the Big Daddy kids, probably?
No, I'm pretty sure. Well, I think they both were. Because at that age, you're starting to get tired? Let's just throw this other kid in there. I think that's
exactly. That's
kind of like the Olsen twins, you know?
Yes. That makes sense because he outacts everybody. He's way more natural on this show. But you know what? The thing that would have made it easier was in my brain, Zack and Cody kid are way more bright than he is. Like his skin looks tan in this show. I don't know what they're doing, but he's not as bright as he was on Zack and Cody. That would have given it away.
You mean
totally? His skin tone is brighter.
Well, it's also he was like I don't know if he was like a towhead, but they had like real blonde hair then, sandy blonde hair. That's what it was. Yeah. So now he's got the dark. It did actually take me a second to recognize who he was too.
That's crazy.
My daughter pulled it right out, like, oh, that's Cody or Zack or whoever.
So good. Yeah. He's doing such a good job in this show. I believe him and Betty. I believe it. Now, I'm shocked that Homeboy's cool with it. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing is, if a girl likes you, and even if you don't like her, we're just friends. When someone else gets with her, you're like, hold on now. Wait a minute. And so the fact that Archie's like, no, I'm good. That's pretty dope. And it was really cool is because there's a lot of little woke moments. Like there was a part where he's trying to write music for this black trio named the Pussycat Dolls. Is it the Pussycat Dolls?
Josie and the Pussycats.
Josie and the Pussycats. And so Josie and the lead singer's like, hey, you can watch us sing. Okay. And so he interjects saying, oh, maybe I should write something for you. And he's like, she says, what do you mean? And he's like, well, I could write something. She says, do you think everything's been given to you. We've had to work for everything. So you can't just interject your experience into our experience of women of color. And one of the girls get up and she's like, come on, Josie. And he's like, no, you're totally right. And he sits back and listens. I'm like, oh, someone who's writing is woke. Someone just let them say, you know what? You're freaking right. Let me sit back and just listen. Come on, man. Y'all better be watching Riverdale. I've changed my mind. Y'all need to be watching woke Riverdale.
I was going to say, you're not letting on to how much you actually love this show. I can tell. I know you, man. And I know you're way digging this more. But again, like I said, it was
a big deal.
It was this really was a closeted show for me. Like I was just keeping it to myself about watching it. I'm glad you brought it up. That's why we're friends, I think, man.
It's really, I mean, I think there's little things that kept on perking up my woke things. And I was like, well, that's interesting. She said that, huh? Well, that's it. Oh, Robin Givens, ladies and gentlemen. Skeet Ulrich, Luke Perry, and Robin Givens. What? 90210, come on. 90210, as good as it gets, and head of the class.
And head of the class.
Come on. What are y'all talking about right now? Y'all better be watching this show.
There it is. You heard it first from Steve Hudson. You got to get yourself some Riverdale. No doubt about it.
So you might want to clip this out, G. You might want to take this whole section out. Dog.
Oh, hell no. And I'm going to have to, especially that part about you chilling in under your blankie with chocolates.
I was.
Were you comfy?
I was super comfy. And you know what else? More people need to do this. Chill with the entry credits. We don't care. We don't need a credit sequence. Just show the name of the show and start.
Just rock and roll right into it.
Thank you. Just get
cold
right
opens.
Oh, I forgot there is another show I watched. The Gifted. Have you heard of this show?
I have heard of this show, and I've seen the first episode only.
Dude, you might want to get back up on it, man. It would take a while to get going, but once it gets going, it's really good.
Well, from what I hear, and this is definitely how I felt about it. I felt like it was just all right when I first watched it. I didn't think I liked the storyline. It reminded me a lot of Heroes.
Yes.
The very first one, and the acting that kind of came with it, which I felt I felt Heroes fizzled pretty quickly.
Yes. Yes.
But I liked it, and I liked the premise of it. And I did like that it is in the realm of the X-Men. Mm-hmm. So I was all in. And I started watching it, and it was just one of those shows where I just felt like there's other things I could be watching right now.
Totally.
And it just so happens that I started watching that. I love Hulu, by the way. I just freaking can't get enough Hulu. So I was watching that on Hulu, and then I made them. Well, I didn't make the mistake at all. I made the absolute wise choice to watch the Orville, and that just completely dumped The Gifted.
That is your jam,
dude. I'm telling you,
that is your jam.
I'm telling you, yeah. I know what I think. I just said that about Future Man, about being in my favorite. It is definitely up there, but I haven't finished it yet. I have seen every single episode of the Orville, dude, and it just keeps getting better. Like, it's so good. Seriously, it's good. And I'm not a Star Trek guy, Steve, but it is better. I would say it's better than Discovery. It's probably, I would, did you watch Star Trek at all?
No.
Okay, so like again, I mean, like I watched Next Generation, and of course, you know, the old series. I've watched all those on, you know, back in the day, but I'm not a Star Trek guy. I love this show, and it is more Star Trek than Discovery will ever be. I'm telling you right now. So freaking good. The jokes it's a really funny show. You know what I mean? Like, I remember right at the beginning of it, people were kind of like knocking the jokes. Like, they didn't really know. And I even said that, like, I didn't know what this show really wanted to be just yet. And it knows exactly what it wants to be. It is awesome. So I didn't mean to take away from your, you know, from The Gifted, but dude, please, for your boy, watch the Orville.
I promise you I will.
All right, man. I'm going to hold you to it. But please, I'm sorry. So, I want to know what you think about The Gifted.
That's it. I think it's good. That was it. I think people should watch it. But again, the only reason I waited for the end of that probably is because everything that I said before that, you'd probably like a little more. It catches you quicker than The Gifted. If you have nothing to watch, definitely watch The Gifted. Get on that. But yeah, check it out. It's fun. But what have you been reading anything, Dan?
I have not really been reading too much.
Dan.
I have not. The only thing I've been reading are a lot of work shit that I would rather not be reading.
Oh, I totally get that.
Lots of occupational stuff that's keeping me from doing what I really want to do, which is either reading a good book or reading some good comics. And I have not been able to. No, but I know that you read something. I know you read something.
I bring this up because you got that. I want to hear your review of that Comics Unlimited thing you got. Or what did you get? Marvel Unlimited?
Comics Unlimited, yeah.
What is that? Okay, explain this to the listeners, man.
Well, Comics Unlimited is just an app that you can get, and you can you can merge it with Amazon. Okay. So you can purchase on Amazon and get books through, you know, to read on your Comixology app. And the reason that I think that's a good thing is because there's a lot of things. It's a huge database of comics, first of all, and there's a lot on there that you can get. When you do the Unlimited, you can actually borrow books, which is great. Really cool. I think it's really great. Really cool. But there's also a lot left to be desired because there's a lot what they call the wish list. So it's like, oh, here it is. They have this, and then you look and it's wish list. You can't get it yet. But the good thing about that is that you can go to, say, Amazon, buy it there, and read it on your Comixology. But you're actually, really cool. But it's cool. But at the same time, you're buying it as opposed to borrowing it. So my opinion's still a little bit out, and I like it because, like I mentioned before, it's hard for me to get out and just peruse the aisles when I'm looking for comics. I don't have a lot of time to do that. Whereas I can sit there all night and do several things and just look through. And I've got several that I want to read right now. One of them, which I'm going to share with you, is called Key of Z. This has been out for a while. And Key of Z, I showed you the cover of that, and I could tell that you were like, oh, yeah, that's definitely something I can get down with.
Yeah, you already know.
You know, I think I'm giving this one more love. Not necessarily than I should have, but I know I'm giving it more attention because it's written by the singer of Coheed and Cambria, Claudio Sanchez, and his wife, Chandra Eckert Sanchez. This book is about, I don't want to say post-apocalyptic, but it's post-zombie outbreak.
Okay.
It takes place on the East Coast, and it all has to do with, it's weird. It has to do, all these people are living in Yankee Stadium. It's like this whole battle zone thing, and they're like all walled off from all of the zombies that are outside. But there's this guy, much like the Pied Piper, you know, he has this harmonica, and he can kind of control the zombies by blowing into this harmonica. And I know it sounds really weird, but the art is really what got me. It just looks really cool. I started reading a little bit of it, but, you know, as Dan does, he puts things down. So I'm going to come back to that there. But so far, so good. That's probably the first thing I'm going to read afterwards. And I just the reason I'm even bringing this up is I just stumbled upon it on Comixology. So I saw that, borrowed it, and that's going to be my next read.
Oh, that's dope, dude. Yeah, I've watched. The only thing I've read was Thor: God of Thunder, Volume 1, and of course, dude, this book is crazy. If you have a chance, Dan, you have got to read Thor: God of Thunder. I just wrote it down because you told me to read that last week, and I forgot which Thor it was. So now I'm on it. It's so good. I mean, what it is I guess it's a series by Jason Aaron. I've never heard of Jason Aaron. But his run apparently is legit, and the volume 1 is pretty much starts off with it goes through different time spaces, and so we'll alternate between old Thor at his prime, and then Thor as I guess you would call him more of a 18-year-old Thor, where he's, coming into his power being like, I could do all this, and I'm dope, and I'm drinking, and I'm eating, and life is good, and I'm having sex. And but there is a god killer that is just going to planets killing gods. And so, Thor is going to these planets seeing these gods that are dead. And there's one dope scene where he meets the god killer. He said, the god killer looks at him. He's like, I tortured the god of torture, and he spilled the beans on everything he knows. So what is a Thor going to do to me? I was like, oh, it's about to get real. Damn. He said, I tortured the god of torture. It's so good, dude. And so Thor's like, well, let's handle this business. But it's so freaking good. And it shows how much Thor wanted to be able to pick up that hammer in the beginning. He had an axe, but he wanted that hammer, and he wanted it bad. And it's an interesting thing to see him going from young Thor to Thor at his prime to an old, jaded, does all of this matter Thor? Why are we even doing this? Thor? That old man that's just like, whatever, man. Like, whatever. It's so good, dude.
So does this start off? Sorry to interrupt you. I'm just curious. Does it start off as a young Thor and it goes all the way to the old Thor?
Yes. Okay. It goes young Thor, and it'll say now, and it will show what's happening now, and then once in a while it goes 2,000 years later, and then it will go back to young Thor again, and everything somehow matches. You're like, oh, that's why that's happening now. Oh, that's what. And Jason Aaron somehow maneuvers it where it's just like every time you're like, well, why would the god of torture do, or the god killer do that? And it will just switch up to the beginning when Thor was young and they met up. And you're like, oh, that's why they're doing it. And it's still this thought of, there's a point where the god killer is like, you know what, Thor? I thank you for what you did to me, because that night in the cave is why I'm coming after you now. And we still don't know what Thor did to him in that cave. And so now I'm on to book 2. And if you guys want to read God of Thunder Volume 1, it's free with if you have Amazon Prime.
Oh, Steve's got the hookup.
Yes. If you have Amazon Prime, just like Dan, you did the Kindle. I guess there's a Kindle app. It even works for the iPad. Download the Kindle app and just get it from your get from Prime Reading. It's a free Prime Reading right now. God of Thunder Volume 1, man. Jason Aaron he's killing it. I'm very interested in the other stuff he's written. Anything he's writing right now, I'm definitely probably going to go ahead and download because I love the art in God of Thunder. I mean, even the cover, when you're looking at the God of Thunder cover, it looks so dope. You're like, oh, this is interesting. It looks like art. Like every single page is like, wow, this is crazy. So check out God of Thunder. That's the only thing I've been reading though.
I'm going to have to check that out. Thank you very much for the recommendation.
And I do believe, if I'm not wrong, that Dan, you have a bit of news coming your way.
We have news, mate. Let's go ahead and get to it, right? All right, then.
Come on, then.
All right, then. We're losing all of our UK listeners right now. Right this fucking second.
I know they're going to send in stuff and be like, come on home, boy. I'll be like, all right, you got me.
Okay.
I will not do your
point taken anymore. Point taken. How many fucking times you guys going to say dope? You fucks.
That was pretty good, actually. That was more that dude. What's that guy's name that was the super tough guy from Snatch? What's his name?
Oh,
he's super tough.
I don't know what that guy's name is, man, but I want to learn how to speak like fluent Cockney.
Oh, good luck. I think you have to move there.
I think you would have to. You would have to actually just be completely submerged into it. I love it because I can't understand it, but it fascinates the hell out of me. So, news. You'd mentioned news. Let's talk some news. Ladies and gentlemen, it's official. Amazon, they got their shit together and they're going to go ahead and start the Lord of the Rings prequel series. We talked about it last week. Amazon is making they've signed up for it. I believe they have 8 episodes ready to make, and it's going to be a prequel of The Lord of the Rings. I think it's actually going to be what happens in between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Now, Steve, I'm going to be 100% honest with you about this. Yes. I kind of don't really care. I hate to say that. I hate to like blow up this balloon and then pop it, but I really wasn't a Lord of the Rings fan. I read the books when I was a kid. I found the movies beautiful but boring. I did not like The Hobbit at all. I had to like kind of finish it for closure, but I'm not all that thrilled. It's not to say that I'm not going to watch it or at least give it a shot, because I hear that there's a possibility. Everyone's trying to fill the gap of, the soon to be gone Game of Thrones.
Yes.
So so I would like to have something that has that kind of brutality in it. I don't think this is going to be it, but it's quite possible. But I don't have a lot of interest in this show. But that is in fact something that I wanted to tie up because we were talking about it. They were just announcing this here, and as it turns out, it's going to be a prequel to Lord of the Rings that falls in between The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings series. So I don't imagine you're going to be watching this one, are you?
You know what? I actually will if I can't find an aquarium to stare at or a lava lamps to look at. I will definitely be turning on the prequel to Lord of the Rings on Netflix for sure. No question.
See, I feel like that was a backhanded compliment to lava lamps.
No. I was saying that I think that watching an aquarium and watching a lava lamp is more exciting than Lord of the Rings. That's what I meant.
No. I feel what you're saying.
Okay, just
but what I got you 100%. I just don't think you dig lava lamps is what I'm getting at. And I think that every house should have one. So
you know what? You're right, because I have one. So yeah, most houses should have one.
I think there's one around here somewhere, but I don't have it plugged in.
There's no way you have it. There's no way you have a lava lamp.
I think the boy has one somewhere in that abyss of a room that he has. There's probably the cure for cancer as well as the lava lamp. But yeah, I believe there's one in this house somewhere.
That's cold-blooded. I know your son be keeping his room impeccable.
Oh, totally. Totally. No, not at all. But anyway, I'm not going to bash the boy. Clean your room. God damn it. All right, what's next?
And we are not interested in Lord of the Rings.
No, we're not.
My first piece of news is about MoviePass, something in the weeds, but I know that you were even wondering about this. So MoviePass announced that they're going to shave off $40 off of their monthly subscription price. And now the annual subscription costs an upfront payment of $89, which translates to $6.95 a month. Quote, you pay that large fee plus a small processing fee, and you're good for an entire 12 months. After that, the same deal. One movie a day for free. A movie a day for free. That is crazy.
It's pretty amazing, but I'm curious about something because I was looking into this. This isn't something that you can just it's an annual purchase. It's not something you can just go month to month with.
Yes. Well, no. It says once your year is up, your plan will convert back to $9.95 a month. Offer valid until it's not limit 2 per household.
So you want to get movie passes for the whole crew?
Yes.
You're spending some money up front.
Yes.
But it will pay. I mean, I went to the movies yesterday. And before I even walked into the theater, I had already spent, we saw it in 3D, not because we wanted to, it's because we were out of town and that was like the next showing. And but I mean, you got your freaking your $4 bottles of water. You've got, you know what I mean? You've got all these things. The movies themselves now are like $15 a pop. It seems to me like that's the way to go, but I don't understand how movie companies cannot be on board with this, right? Like someone's got to be fighting this, right?
Heck no. They're like, all the movie companies are like, this is some bull crap.
So enlighten me about this. Do you know like the origin of this? Like who's doing this and how they got this to pass?
That's just it. I'm not sure how they did this. How do they do it so that you get one free movie every day if you want to for an upfront annual fee of $89? Maybe $100. That's out of this world, bro.
I kind of think I want that. I need to look into it more, but for myself, I think it would be good. I mean, particularly for what we do, it's nice to be on the up and up with these things, and it seems to make sense to me, but I just can't see this ending well. Like, I don't think it's going to end well. I think that someone's going to fight this. It just doesn't make sense to me. There are movie companies that are just, movie theaters that are just losing so much money from this. It has to be.
Well, the thing is, here's what they could do. And I actually heard this on another podcast. What they could do is make it so, let's imagine a future where movie theaters go out of business, except for a few. Movie Pass takes all that. They can now charge whatever they want for movies because they have a monopoly on it. Once they've gotten everybody to stop going to the movies, them giving you movies, brand new movies, say they deliver them straight to your house, they can charge whatever because you have no choice. Now you have no choice. They've put the other people out of business sufficiently, and now you have no choice.
I don't know. I like seeing a movie on the big screen.
So do I.
But I'm kind of down with that too. I would actually like that if we could just view these new releases in our homes.
Yeah, but if they're charging you, they say you can watch all the movies you want at your house, knowing that there's a limited amount of movies you can watch, but they charge you $120 a month, like a normal cable fee. You wouldn't have spent that at the movies, period. But now you are, just in case you want to watch the movies.
Yeah, that would be I know you're just throwing a number out, but that would be crazy.
Yeah.
That's not something I could get behind. And you're probably right. That's probably what would end up happening. It would be just as ludicrous to either go see it in the movie theater or to watch it at your house because it's going to be so damn expensive.
Because why else would MoviePass do this? They're not going to make money. So they have an end game, and the end game is not for, you know what we want to do? Better the world. No way.
No, it's like a drug dealer giving you that first taste for free,
yes,
so to speak.
Bingo.
Just a little taste. Try this out. You'll be back.
I don't understand how this is happening because it's, okay, imagine it. Okay, and even let's just say they're buying all these tickets at matinee prices or whatever prices they're buying them at. That means that, the movie theaters are going to have to subside on hopefully people not getting into this Movie Pass thing or somehow going at night also, because if they only buy them at matinees, the movie theaters are making no money on evenings. None.
I think that I would just do it in the evening on principle.
Really?
Well, if it's more expensive, why not stick it to them,
No, you're right, dude.
That's the way I see it. I remember one time I went to, and I know we're talking movies, but I'm talking about concessions. It's just so expensive, dude. I remember I walked into the theater one time, and it was we're from Fresno, folks. There's this place called Manchester Regal, and we went in there, and I ordered I think it was just 2 bottles of water and I don't know, some gummy bears or something like that for my kid, and the price was almost $20. The dude couldn't even say it with a straight face. The kid literally was, okay, that's 20. He laughed about it. I'm like, you can't even say it with a straight face, can you, man?
Damn.
I'm not a thrifty man, but some of these prices are ridiculous. And I tie it all together. If I can sit and have my 25-cent bottle of water that I got from a crate over at Winco, you know what I mean? While I'm watching this movie, it's the same. I went to Maya Theater. I don't even know, folks, if Maya Theater is anywhere but in this town. But I went to Maya Theater and I got I don't even know hold on, I have one right here in front of me. I'll tell you, it is, sorry for all the plastic sounds, a 16.9 ounce of Arrowhead water. I did this with the gift card. It was a birthday. Thank you, folks. They got me the gift card from work. $4 for this bottle of water. I don't know. Maybe I sound like a cheap ass or something, but that's just insane to me. It was just a $4. Whereas you can go to another theater, and at least they give you the large for $4. Movies are just getting too damn expensive for me, Steve. That's why I wanted to look into this whole movie pass thing in the first place. So I may have to get one.
Looking deeper, guess who started Movie Pass?
I have no clue.
The co-founder of Netflix.
Kind of makes sense.
Dude, they're trying to put those movie theaters out of business. Oh no, I'm not going to do Movie Pass. Hell no. Nope.
Because of the ugly outcome that it'll have?
Totally, dude. There's no way he's going to be like, no, I just want the theater experience to be better. Heck no.
People aren't talking when you're watching at your house.
I get it. But you also don't have leather. Oh, never mind. Some of us do have leather recliners. Let me just stop that conversation dead in its tracks. Some of us have leather recliners with USB ports, but some of us don't.
Don't hate. Don't hate. You know what's funny is, because we're still on our honeymoon with our couches. We're loving the shit out of these things. But we went to a theater yesterday that had the leather recliners, and I made the joke of apparently we only deal with leather reclining seats when we watch our movies now, like just being a dumbass, right?
Of course.
As I hit the recliner button, broken. It didn't even work.
Dang.
Karma, man. Karma.
Now, are you gonna for real? Here, if you do Movie Pass, let me know, because you're going to be able to, just don't push, I agree. Read the fine print and tell me what it says.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because it says you have to go on the app to register. Because I was just trying to find out, do we have it in our area? It says it says like, it's 90-something% of all movies in the United States, but it didn't say Fresno. So I was looking to see, does it have it? And apparently it does. There's a site that you can go to, and I don't have it handy, but you could go. It was somebody from Reddit actually made a search engine, and you could put in your zip code and see which movie theaters it'll work at. So it does in fact work. But I went onto the app just to see if I could see what it had to offer and everything like that. But no, right off the jump, they're like, okay, well, this is where you put your credit card in. And that's when I stopped.
Oh man.
I wasn't just going to give my credit card out and then be like, nah, that's not something I'm into. I don't honestly know if I'm going to get it, Steve, but $6.95 a month does sound pretty awesome for unlimited movies.
That's crazy.
But if there's more to it, I don't know. I'm going to have to look into it before I give my full opinion.
But they're willing to, we already realized they're willing to lose money. It's Netflix. They're willing to take a hit to get people addicted to that and then slowly do the $1 a month upgrade. But like, oh, now it's going to be $9 a month. Now it's going to be $10. Now it's going to be $11. Like slowly, because look, Netflix, they have, for $9 a month, you get how many movies available to you? They're willing to do the same. They say, quote, in this article, he says, quote, we've seen a 100% increase in moviegoing, 50% increase in midweek attendance, and 123% increase in concession revenues for all of its Movie Pass members. And so he's saying, hey, movie theaters have nothing but gain from this. They have nothing to lose, everything to gain. You do know he's up to some bull crap.
This is why they do these things. I don't think that they just went, hey, let's do something really nice for everybody, and then not think about what's going to be, what the end game is. So I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do.
Because now the movie theaters will be like, dang, we have a 100% increase. And so now he could be like, look, if you let our members go, look at how much you're going to lose now. He has them. If they keep doing that and you see a 400% increase, the movie theater is going to be a rock and a hard place. Be like, if we say no more Movie Pass members, they're just going to go to River Park, or they're just going to go to another movie theater. So we have to say yes, if that's what he's thinking.
Well, I'm sure whatever he's thinking is not going to end well for us. I mean, it's a profit business. Right?
Netflix ended well, and Netflix did well for us, dude. It didn't do well for Blockbuster. Are movie theaters the next victim of Netflix? Quote unquote Movie Pass.
Yeah, I kind of think so, man. I really think that they are going to.
That sucks, dude.
I think that they're going to go the way of the dodo. I do.
Or drive-in. Or drive-in. Because I know ages ago people were like, drive-ins are always going to be here.
Yeah, the novelty didn't even last on that one there. Exactly. I have to admit that they're still around. There's still a few that are somehow
Sunset
around.
still exists in San Luis. San Luis still has Sunset Drive-In.
I've been to Old Sunset. That's I saw Austin Powers. That's at the.
It's a great movie theater. It's fantastic.
It's a cool place, man. And they'd always double as like the swap meet too. The next day, the flea market. So, and I think that's cool. I think that they still have those things. It's nice because it's a little bit of nostalgia for you. But I don't think that they're going to be around forever, man. At some point, they're going to have to go.
And that's what do you do to a business? I know we're going on and we're going to move on, but what do you do to combat a business and a businessman that's willing to lose billions to beat you?
Bend over and take it.
What else can you do?
Just go ahead.
What do you do? He's willing to lose billions he dropped the price $40 per month.
There are some companies that will spend way more money to knock out the competition. Yes. So in the end, it comes back to them. Mm-hmm. I work for one of those companies.
Exactly. You do work for, and he's just going to siphon the people from them and put them out of business. Do you like True Detective, brother? Or did you not really dig it?
I have seen part of season 1.
Dan.
I have not. Yeah, I have nothing to give to add to it. It's what I hear. Dan. I know. I'm slapping my own hand. Hear that?
Okay.
See that?
Okay. How did you? Okay, wait. How did you not watch that when that was like the only thing on, and you didn't watch Game of Thrones at the time?
If you really want to be boring about it, that is when I was like working way too much. There was zero time for me to do anything, which is why going back and talking about our old podcast, The Word, that's when everything kind of flipped for me. I was enjoying, watching television and watching movies, and I was really into Preacher at the time. And then I got the promotion and the different job, and I started working way more hours. And that's the boring answer, Steve, is I just did not have the time to watch it. But that is actually on my high priority watch list right now, because everyone raves about season 1. And that is, if I'm not mistaken, is that the one with McConaughey and Harrelson?
That's it.
That's season 1, right?
That's it.
So everyone has told me, like, just shut up, watch season 1, and I'm going to do it.
It's so good. I even like the second season. Because I'm one of the few people that could just watch Vince Vaughn do Vince Vaughn. I can watch that, and it's entertaining enough for me. But I understand that people didn't really like it as much. But the good news is that season 3 just locked in Carmen Ejogo. You've seen Carmen Ejogo? If you look her up, you've seen her before. But it's going to be Carmen Ejogo and Mahershala Ali in the next season of True Detective, dog. It is going to be so freaking good. And they said it's going to be set with two missing children in the 80s. It's going to be dope, dog. I cannot wait for this, man. So I would say just do season 1 and just wait for 3, even though you like Vince Vaughn. So you might like Vince Vaughning. Yeah,
I'm down with Vince Vaughn doing his Vince Vaughning. But hey, can you do, for the people like myself that haven't watched the show yet, can you give a small premise of what it's about?
It's about, normally it's what it does is it takes detectives working a case, different cases every time. It revolves around the people actually investigating the case or the people who are being investigated. It just depends. It's a story about so many different people. Whereas the first season, True Detective was pretty much just about Harrelson and McConaughey's characters. Those two characters were the one they focused on, and I like that more. And I think they're going back to that, saying, let's just focus on these two people, which is going to be Mahershala Ali and Carmen Ejogo for this year. And it's just good. If you liked Mindhunters, you're going to love True Detective.
Is this show kind of like a Fargo, where each season is something completely different?
Yes, bingo.
But in the same universe, if you will? Same
vein, yes, exactly. It's different people, same vein. I think people thought that it was going to be McConaughey and Harrelson again for season 2, but it didn't. But once you heard like Vince Vaughn, you were like, oh, this should be really good. Vince Vaughn and Colin Farrell, you thought it was going to be a no lose. But it was a lose.
It was a bit of a loss then, huh?
Yes, but McConaughey and Harrelson was just, they were firing on all cylinders. It was part of the McConaissance. That's what, that was right during the McConaissance period. So, is that an actual term, Steve, or did you just make that up? It's a thing.
The McConaissance.
Yeah.
Well, all right. That's good news.
Exactly. And so that one I'm really looking forward to. So check it out, Make sure you get on that True Detective situation.
It's on the list, man. It's on the list. I need some vacation time. I'm just going to lock myself into a room and watch every single show that I can.
Please do. Now
come out with a beard and soiled. All right.
In other news, do you know who's in talks to be in the next Batman solo movie?
I was actually going to bring that up, but let's talk about that, because is it truly in talks, or are they just throwing that name around and that's how it's gotten out into the Twitter sphere and pop culture news? Because the answer that you're looking for, I believe, would be Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's it. And
yes.
I think it's circling because it says, quote, back when Christopher Nolan was casting Batman Begins, Gyllenhaal auditioned.
So he already had interest, I see.
Exactly. And although Nolan ultimately cast Christian Bale to play Bruce Wayne, Gyllenhaal's sister, Maggie, later appeared in a sequel to Batman Begins, The Dark Knight. Gyllenhaal was also in contention to play Spider-Man, but got beat out by Tobey Maguire. So the only reason that I think that maybe he's going to get it is because it seems like he wants one of these roles. He wants one of these roles, but Affleck has been circling the role, saying, I'm getting kind of old. I don't know if I'm going to do this. So it's really hinging on, well, is Affleck, are you going to stay? Or are you going to leave then? That's what it's hinging on. And I think if he says, I'm gone, then they could actually go forward and be like, okay, cool. Let's start looking for a new Batman. But until he puts his stake in the sand, no one knows what he's doing. Is Ben Affleck going to, he said he's contemplating starring in Batman. Well then, what does that mean?
I have an opinion about that, but obviously it's not the right time to do that.
Go for it, brother.
Well, no, because it's gonna tie into what we're talking about. You know what? No more spoilers on that, folks. This week, you know what we're talking about? We're talking about the Justice League. So spoilers there, only of what we're going to be talking about in a bit. But that's why I don't necessarily want to give my opinion on Ben Affleck just yet, if that's okay with you.
But okay, well, at least give me this. Do you see Gyllenhaal as a potential? Is he 6'2"?
I don't know how tall he is. I could find that out, of course.
I don't think 6'2".
I always pictured him in like the 5'10" range. If I had
to. I would say 5'9".
Not that I gave it any thought whatsoever. But if you're asking me, I would say he would be in the top. I'm going to find out now.
We saw Jason Momoa, who is tall, and Ben Affleck. They were head to head. And that's perfect for Batman.
Like, isn't Ben Affleck like 6'4" or something like that?
Yeah, he's like 6'3". Yeah, a strong 6'3". Or 6'2". And I think Momoa is 6'2".
Okay, I looked it up. Jake is actually 6 foot. So he's not short.
Oh, no. He's right there then. Because he's taller than Keaton. Yeah, he could do it.
He could totally do it.
He could totally do it.
You know, maybe he was like runner-up. If he had expressed interest in doing that, maybe he was the runner-up and that's why they're going to him first. Maybe it's like, we like him, but I like Affleck better. And Affleck's going to be more of a name. He's going to draw more people. At least I think that.
And remember, Gyllenhaal was a pretty boy. I don't know if he might have, but so was Christian Bale. So they went from pretty boy to prettier boy. So I don't know why they went Christian Bale. Maybe because they're like, we want this to be more something than anything else. I don't know. But I think Gyllenhaal's in a space where he'd actually fit right in.
There was a time where I didn't really care for Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't really know why. I don't think I gave him a fair shot. I liked Donnie Darko. I liked End of Watch very much so.
I loved End of Watch.
I loved it. I'm trying to think of a movie where I didn't necessarily care for him. Oh, did you see Okja on Netflix?
I didn't. How was it?
I loved it. That's a whole thing we could talk about. I really love that. That movie freaking got to me, dude. Seriously.
Oh,
but
wow.
Jake Gyllenhaal plays a role in there that I hated him. I hated the character. I just hated Jake Gyllenhaal in this movie so much. And there's been a couple where it's like that. But then you look at something like, say, Southpaw. Did you see Southpaw?
I liked Southpaw more than I should have because 50 Cent is in it. And I was like, uh-oh. But he did a good job.
No, I liked that movie a lot. And I think that he's definitely got the chops to do it. I think that he could play an action role. And he can definitely look menacing if he wants to.
But he doesn't have the size that Ben Affleck has. Natural big boned size. But it's just like no one's ever going to have, at 22 years old, no one's going to look like Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve's facial structure was crazy at 22 years old. And you're just not going to get that again.
But they could bulk him up. And I still think that, yes, he would not look like particularly, I don't know if it's the difference. I would really like to compare Batman from the other movies versus Batman in Justice League because he was huge in this movie.
The bat suit was big. The bat suit was big. He was just a thick individual.
But I mean, it made him, and what I'm getting at is, I don't know if they could keep a suit like that, because I mean, they're inventing Batman all the time, of course, but I don't know if they could use the same suit with Jake Gyllenhaal, where he wouldn't look like he was swimming in it.
His face would be moving in that mask.
Yeah, exactly. The cowl, it would look like he was wearing his dad's cowl or something like that.
I think even Momoa would look like he was swimming in that mask because Ben Affleck has a thicker face. His jaw structure is bigger. And so he fit that big monstrous suit. Whereas even if Jason Momoa would have been playing Batman, it would have had to be a more slender, V-shaped situation. And what I did notice is, and I don't know if it was on purpose, but you notice they didn't have shirt off pictures or visuals with Affleck this time.
They're putting him next to Momoa, man.
That's what I was thinking.
They didn't want to make him. They didn't want to make this one of the main stars look bad. We got to give Ben Affleck props. Momoa, this is his thing. This is what he's doing.
This is what he's supposed to do. Ben Affleck plays a lot of different roles, so not every role is going to require him to be ripped. Momoa has not done one where he has to get big, where like fat. Ben Affleck is doing a million different roles that you have to do different stuff. So the fact that he was able to come back to this and do it is still impressive. I can't blame him for being like, I'm not going to get a six pack. I'm too old for that bull crap. I'm done. No, I'm just going to put on the suit and call it a freaking day. I'm not 25 years old.
Momoa's probably getting roles because he's big. You know what I mean? He's getting those certain roles like, oh, let's just go to him. This dude's got the perfect build for it.
Just like The Rock. Even Jason Momoa doesn't have the genetics The Rock has. The Rock has it. If they were like, hey, Momoa, can you get as big as The Rock? They'd be like, no, because you don't have the genetics. You're not going to be black, and half Samoan. You're just not going to get that. The Rock has a specific genetic makeup that make him a different human being. So I can't hold Ben Affleck to that standard. But again, and then bringing this back around, look, Jake Gyllenhaal, I can't hate on him for having a certain DNA structure. But what I can do is give him the props for the fact that he's saying, I'm willing to jump into this role. He's not saying, well, I don't know. No, he's willing to jump full in. I think it's all on the directors. Do they want him? That's the only question.
But he could definitely get bulked up enough to play the role.
Totally, dude. I would be pumped if it was Gyllenhaal. I would be super pumped. I'd be like, especially after seeing Life, the dude is ready. The dude is ready. I really am looking forward to him doing this. I think he'd bring a different vibe to the character. I think he'd be way more human. I felt like, not to get ahead of ourselves, but I feel like Ben Affleck could be almost douchous with his richness. Whereas Gyllenhaal would, in my opinion, this is all predicated on me assuming certain things. But with my assumptions, if it would be like Jake Gyllenhaal could give off that presence of I'm rich accidentally. Yes, I have money, but I don't even like to think of it. Whereas Ben Affleck is more of a I bought the bank.
What's your superpower? I'm rich.
Yeah, I'm rich. Now, Gyllenhaal would say that line totally different and give us a totally different feel. Where he's just like, Gyllenhaal would be like, I'm rich, but we'd think, oh, he's just being like, well, yeah, that's all I got for you. That's all I can. Whereas Ben Affleck was like, yeah, this is me. What are you going to do? That's what I got from it. I may be this is a totally opinion, ladies and gentlemen, but I really want to see what Jake can do to this role. So I'm very excited about this news. Or for me, either get Jake or Ben, say yes or no. If you're not going to do it and you're just kind of, let's see what Justice League does, well, then just move, man. Let someone else say, I don't care what Justice League does. I want that role. He auditioned for it before. Then he auditioned for Spider-Man, didn't get it. He wants this role. Give it to him. Give it to someone who wants it.
I will say, and this doesn't have anything to do with my opinion of the movie.
Yes.
But I will say that I personally think that Ben Affleck is completely done with Batman.
Oh, wow.
I feel that it showed in his performance, and that's all I'll say for now. But I'll get back to it once we start talking about it. Yeah. But that's what I think. And I welcome it. I welcome a new Batman. I mean, it's always nice to have familiarity. You know what you're getting. And for some reason, between Batman and Spider-Man, that's just the way it's always been. So I'm kind of used to it. I'm like a foster kid of nerds. Do you know what I mean? You just keep going to... So, no offense, foster kids. I just mean that I'm used to jumping around is all I'm saying.
I totally get that. Okay, we both saw Justice League. There are a few Easter eggs that were really fun. And one of them you already caught. But did you notice the Batman original theme?
Yeah, I mean, Danny Elfman's back on board, man. So why wouldn't he put that in? When I first heard it, when I heard, the Batman theme, I got like really excited. My ears perked up like a dog, you know what I mean? And I thought that was so cool that he slipped that in there.
It was so good.
Danny Elfman is one of my all-time favorites. I was huge into the band Oingo Boingo. So I've loved Danny Elfman since the 80s.
Classics with Burton.
You always know Danny Elfman when you hear him,
Oh, yeah. I mean, what he did as a musician, listening to what he did with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the way he did Elfman, like I could tell what an Elfman score is, but he switched it up in such a way that I'm just like, dude, this guy is he's acting on a different level, man. He's doing music on a different level. He could literally watch something and do something that, I mean, his score for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory fits so perfectly. And so when I'm sitting there watching and I hear da na na na. I was like, oh my God.
I got very giddy.
Everybody, people are going to leave after the first credit sequence. Do not. Our theater cleared out. There was only 4 people, me, my son, and 2 other people that stayed to the after credit sequence. The Easter egg at the end. My son is super cool. He almost leapt out of his seat and said, Dad. Let me tell you something. Some of you will be like, I don't get it. That's cool. Some of you are going to literally run around the theater because now we know DC's like, hey, Marvel, watch your back.
We've come to play.
We have come to play. Gee, what you just said is perfect. I didn't even think about that.
Thank you much.
We have come to play. Now, mind you, they showed up to the basketball court and they still have the high socks and the headband, but they have a nice basketball now. So you got to give them proud. They're still wearing the mouth guard and you're like, oh, this may be terrible.
They got some goggles and them short shorts.
Exactly. But they showed up to the right basketball court this time. So they're like, oh, you showed. They came to play now. Here's what I think I'm more jazzed about what this says about the future. What this says about what's going on. I literally left that theater and people online, like when they're saying I didn't like it, well, then you just don't like fun. That's what you don't like. You walked in there ready to hate it. And so you made a reason to dislike it. When you're going to sit there and there's certain, even if I would respect someone to come out and say, hey, I didn't like it, but what this says for the DC universe is a lot. Then I would like, okay, that's fair. But when you say I just didn't like it, okay, well then dig deeper. Tell me what it means for the DC universe against the Marvel universe. What does that mean? Like, what are they trying to say? This is literally a ship in the distance firing a warning shot at a fleet saying, hey, we're not done yet. By the way, why y'all leaving? This fight just started. Okay, all of our other ships are destroyed, but there's still one and we're ready to rock and roll. This was such a shot, dude. Over the bow, dog.
You used a good word. You called it fun. Now, a lot of people, whether or not I guess everyone's entitled to their opinion. But there's one thing that I personally don't think that you can say about this movie is that it was not fun. It was exactly. A freaking entertainment all the way through this movie.
Totally.
So yeah, don't buy into everyone's opinions. Don't buy into our opinions. Make the choice yourself. But at least stay till the very end. I was starting to talk about that end scene, and I went, you know what? I'm just going to get big spoiler warning. I'm going to spoil that scene towards the end of this here. I'm just telling you because I have to talk about something because it gave me the yeah, let's just say that. I was about to say something much more crude. Yeah,
I totally saw where you're going. But there was, before we go forward, now you got me, you shouldn't even have brought it up. What is it that's darker that I'm interested in, G? I'm sorry, I got to know.
Okay, well, it's
been bothering me.
Stepping out completely from the superhero realm.
I can't wait.
I know that you're a fan. I feel like you're going to get disappointed on this right here. So I'm going to tell you right now, yeah, I think you're going to be disappointed in some people, or at least in a person. I'm about 99.9% sure you consider this person a hero. So get ready. All right? Something I read today, and the article, yeah, it's an article. Actually, this came out, what's today, the 19th? Yeah, this article just came out today on Variety.com, and I immediately thought of you. So I'm going to go ahead and just read the title of this article, and let's see what comes out of your mouth. So Brett Ratner and Russell Simmons are accused of working together to carry out sexual misconduct. I know we keep coming back to it, folks, but it's everywhere right now. You cannot avoid this here. I brought this one up specifically because I know you're a huge fan of Russell Simmons.
Well, and I'm a fan of Brett Ratner. Before these last 2 years, I was a fan of him before he came out as a clear, unadulterated douche. But now with Russell Simmons, okay, number one, I'm going to preface this by saying he's canceled. When it comes out, because it's done. Because I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, let's see what. No. I'm done.
Well, would you like to at least hear what exactly he's been accused of? So, and I'm going to go ahead and say that I heard Brett Ratner on a Howard Stern show years and years ago. I've never liked that guy. I think he just seems like I mean, I don't know him from a hole in the wall, but the persona that he projects, like particularly on the Howard Stern show, just an arrogant prick. So
of course, yeah.
I just one, like every time I see him, I was like, oh, that's that arrogant prick from the Howard Stern show. I never liked that guy. So again, this is from Variety.com. Here we go. This is actually an article that came from the Los Angeles Times, though. This is where it all stemmed from. The Times had previously reported that 6 women, including actresses Olivia Munn and Natasha Henstridge, had come forward with allegations of misconduct against Ratner. And the new report alleges that Simmons, his mentor, has worked with the director and producer to carry out inappropriate behavior. I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but Carrie Clausen, I believe it's Kalihi, a then 17-year-old model, alleged that she met Ratner, who was a music video director at the time, and Simmons in 1991 at a casting call. After dinner one night, the pair took her back to Simmons' apartment to ostensibly look at a music video. According to Kalihi, Steve, Simmons began to make aggressive sexual advances toward her, including tearing off her clothes. She says, I looked over at Brett and said, help me. And I'll never forget the look on his face, she told the Times. In that moment, the realization fell on me that they were in it together. She alleges it gets worse. She alleges that Simmons then tried to force her to have intercourse, which she fought off until he relented and coerced her into performing oral sex. Kalihi told the Times that Ratner sat and watched. Afterwards, while taking a shower, Kalihi said that Simmons approached her from behind and briefly penetrated her without her consent. It hurt so much, she said. So I could just keep going on with this, but I'm not going to read the entire article. But I had to tell you about this because I had to get your take on it. I know you loved some Russell Simmons, man. What does that make you think?
It makes you. Look.
I know you said he's canceled.
He's canceled.
But now that you know the specifics,
it's gross. And the thing is, like, here's the sad part. 4 weeks ago, I would have been totally and utterly taken aback by these crazy stories. Just 4 weeks ago. Now it's like, it's shocking that Russell did it, but the non-shocking part is what happened. Because it just sounds like this is what happens. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's hard for me to be like, when women are like, men are trash, and the men are like, not all men, and then you see these stories, it'd be like, I could get why a woman would just go into life saying men are trash, prove me wrong. That's it. Like, I'm just going to assume all men are trash until the individual ones prove me wrong. I get it. I can't say that. I can't sit there and be like, no, most men are good. You'll just run into bad ones. Is that what you want to tell your daughter? Is that the dice you want to roll in this world now? Or would you just be like, daughter, assume all men are up to no good. Maybe some aren't. And hey, maybe you'll find the good one. But I would rather you coming out the other side being overly cautious than for me to send you out into the world saying, trust everybody. Most people are good. Hell no, not in this world. It's over. It's over, Jay. Those days are done.
Dude, I'm looking at this article. And it's like, I don't want to read the whole thing, but there's like so much more to this now. It's like, so, he did make a statement basically saying, that it's completely and unequivocally, he denied her account, stating that abusing women in any way, shape, or form violates the very core of his being. Okay. So take that for whatever. He said that everything that happened between us 26 years ago was completely consensual and with Carrie's full participation. Okay. Take that as a grain of salt. But now there's a second woman by the name of Tanya Reid who also claimed that Simmons and Ratner. I find it weird that two people say the same. That's pretty far-fetched. You know what I mean? Not far-fetched, but it's like, it's these two people acted together to do that. That's a pretty distinct accusation. But a second woman named Tanya Reid also claimed that Simmons and Ratner acted together in the Times new report, claiming that she encountered the pair in 1994. So, the time frames are all pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. At a hotel in Miami where she moved to try to become a model. She was working the front desk at a hotel at the time, and she alleges that Simmons asked her to personally deliver a toothbrush to her. And he told her that he wanted her to come upstairs so Brett could hold her down and could perform oral sex.
Jeez.
So now we've got the two working together and we got the oral sex theme, It's just wild, bro.
And check this out.
Wild.
Check this out. Terry Crews just put out a tweet. He says, Dear Russell Simmons, no one gets a pass. And this is the email he got from Russell Simmons regarding the agent Terry Crews is suing from WME. Is it WME? WME. His name is Adam Bennett. that, groped Terry Crews, right? So he says, Terry, did he ever apologize? Give the agent a pass. Ask that he be reinstated. With great love, all things are possible. That's what he's emailing Terry Crews, Jay.
I have no words, dude. I mean, I really just don't know what the hell's going on in this world right now. And like I've said before, and I still feel weird when I say it, but because of the way that the justice system works, people should be innocent until proven guilty. Mm-hmm. But all of this is coming out now. It's hard to not just automatically think that it's true when they're like stories are lining up from two different people, same time frame, same type of a story. It's just really hard. I don't know what the hell to think.
It's
anymore,
just gross,
man.
Dude. It's here. Like part of me says, with the way the justice system works, it's innocent until proven guilty. But however, the way the justice system works, you're kind of like, well, it might be the only justice they get is them being ostracized from their company. Harvey Weinstein is never going to serve jail time. It's just not. They're having a hard time. Do you think it's
because of the time frames?
Yeah, I think that, and they're having a hard time firing Kevin Spacey because certain clauses in his there was no like morality clause in his contract, so they're having an issue firing him from House of Cards.
I thought he was already fired from House of Cards.
They're having a hard time firing him. Interesting.
Interesting indeed. Interesting.
And so
I just wanted.
Thank you. I mean, look, people. I mean, we're not the judge, jury, but I will tell you this. I will tell you this. If these allegations, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I feel sorry for, and including you, brother, I feel sorry for those with daughters. What do you tell them going out into the world? I don't know.
I don't let her go out.
That's one way to do it.
No, I'm just kidding, but
what do you say?
I'm trying not to, I don't get real deep with her about these kind of things, but I have sort of talked about it a little bit, and my daughter's got a very innocent mind right now, and I don't really want, but I don't want to shield her from things that are just too real. You know?
The balancing act must be incredible, dude.
To answer your question, I'm not quite sure what I'm saying to her just yet. We're starting to have these little talks, but it's a delicate situation, man. And I think I can give you more later on. But I luckily, my wife is just like a wordsmith when it comes to stuff. So she's constantly talking to my daughter about that. And I think at this point in the game, her age, I think that she respects the opinion of her mother more when it comes to things like this.
I totally get that. That sucks.
So, but she's more comfortable. Maybe she's more comfortable is what I'm saying.
Well, in times like this, Dan, you know what I think?
What do you think,
sir?
I
wonder, what would Jesus do? And Netflix might have the answer. Netflix might have the answer for this. Because they're making a movie. They're making a show. Quote, Netflix is developing a new show called Messiah, which tells the story of Jesus Christ, what it would be like if Jesus Christ showed up in modern day world.
That was a hell of a segue, Steve.
We may be able to ask Jesus.
Wouldn't that be great if they had a show? What would you like? Somebody plays Jesus and he takes calls.
I think this might be what this is.
Is that really what it is? Like people just calling in and he's like, okay, so this is your situation. This is what I would do. Is that really what it is? No, that can't be it.
Oh, no, here's it. Okay, let me give you the rundown. Quote, Messiah will chronicle the modern world's reaction to a man who first appears in the Middle East, creating a groundswell of followers around him claiming he is the Messiah. Is he sent from God, or is he a dangerous fraud bent on dismantling the world's geopolitical order? In a 10-hour-long episodes, the story unfolds from multiple points of view, including a young CIA agent, an Israeli Shin Bet officer, a Latino preacher and his Texan daughter, and a Palestinian refugee, and the media, among others.
What are they walking into a bar?
Dude, I mean, okay, here's the thing. I can't say anything bad about this because just last week I was saying, are people running out of ideas? Hey, this is definitely
definitely original.
Not a reboot. I mean,
no, dude. I'm down. I'm going to watch it. I'm definitely going to check it out and see. Why not? Why not? Why not?
But I mean, I don't know what, I mean, like.
Doesn't mean I'm going to stay with it.
Is it going to be like, I'm
intrigued. I really have no idea what to make of this. I mean, it's such a crazy concept. If we're talking about how there's too many reboots and whatnot.
You know what? I can't say anything. You're right.
I'm down. I'm down. Right. I'm checking it out.
No, you're totally right. And I will check it out also, just to be able to discuss it. But if Jesus would say anything but, yeah, let's start over and incinerate this world, I'm not going to believe it. I think he needs to reboot the earth. It should be a one episode. He comes down, goes around the world and be like, so Dad, it looks like we messed up, and just reboot.
The world's a little crazy, brother. Has been raining a little bit more. That's all I'm saying. It's been raining a little bit more.
Hey, I'm waiting for an arc. I got
one I'm building out back, brother. You got room. You and your boy, you got room.
Now,
bring your sister, bring your mom. You can bring everybody. Got the whole Hudson family covered.
Appreciate it. Now, this next piece of news you actually have also. Your favorite director, Tarantino, he finally had someone duped enough to buy his script.
Why you gotta say he's my favorite director, man?
Sony Pictures
has
acquired what is tentatively called Number 9, the ninth film by Quentin Tarantino.
So this movie is set to take place in the 60s and is going to be starring Margot Robbie, from what I understand. She's going to be playing Sharon Tate. This has to do with the murder and all the Manson situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. I don't know what he's going to... I don't know how he's going to Tarantino it out. It could go either way.
He's going to.
It can go... for sure. Sure. He's probably going to say some of your favorite words in it.
Yeah. I'll be like, I didn't even know this needed to happen, but he will. He'll got to find it. Be like, I can't figure out where to put nigger. I got to figure out where we place this.
Like, what would Jesus do?
Exactly. Yet another thing. But do you know how Sony won this bid?
No.
Like, they tricked out their studio entrance with like 60s cars, 60s paraphernalia, all this stuff to get this bid from Tarantino.
Oh, because he's so into retro and
because
into
that's what this
style.
movie is going to be based in. So they just wanted to prove that they could do it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. They just wanted to give him kind of a visual of something that they're capable of doing that might fit the aesthetics of his movie.
I think they're stuck in 1999, 2004. Why would
Are you saying that they're giving him too much love for this decade?
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you. Check out this quote is about to blow your mind. Check it out. Sony acquires the worldwide rights for this movie, right? A source tells The Hollywood Reporter that the Tarantino film has to make $375 million worldwide to break even. To break even.
Why so high?
Because of probably with the deal that they made with him.
Why? No, again, why so high? That's what I'm getting at.
Dude.
I don't understand what you're saying. I don't want you to think that I'm not listening to what you're saying. You're saying that's why they're stuck in 1994. But
yes,
I'm puzzled by this. I personally did not like The Hateful Eight.
I did.
I thought that was just him
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Jerking off all over himself, basically. But I loved Django Unchained.
That was good.
That was a great
And it was a
movie.
perfect...
So,
I know why. Now he has reason. Yeah, he loved writing that movie.
Oh, okay. All right. So I didn't even think about that. Does that movie hit you wrong?
No, it didn't until you just see a pattern of his thing. I mean, I'm interested.
Getting back to what you were saying, how can I fit that word in
anymore? Of course.
Anymore?
And then he's like, I'll just do a slave movie. Perfect. Next question.
Yeah, right. That's like Tarantino just remakes Roots or something like that, right?
But and the weird thing is I don't think he said it in Inglourious Bastards. I'm shocked he didn't fit it in. He did. He did during the French scene when he was talking about how black people couldn't run the movie projector.
No, I think he's definitely got a way of just jamming that in every single movie that he's ever been. Did you ever watch True Romance?
I haven't yet, but you told me there's a scene.
There's a scene in that one too. I mean, that's definitely his favorite word.
And Samuel L. Jackson must not care.
Apparently not. But then again, would Samuel L. Jackson be where he is without him?
That's true.
You know, that's something to think about.
He wouldn't be where he's. That's true. He wouldn't be where he's at. But I don't understand why Sony would make it so that when has Is it that often that Quentin Tarantino makes $375 million worldwide? I mean, I'm sure Inglourious probably did. Pulp did, but has
Pulp
anything
did for
else?
Sure. Django, maybe? No, Django was kind of like a slow burn, wasn't it?
Yes, I'm very interested in how much. You know what? I'm very interested in how much Quentin's movies have made. Okay, looking at his filmography, like let's say Pulp Fiction, right? Pulp Fiction, and that's going to be. Would you say that's his star vehicle?
I would say so.
It made $107 million.
Wow, that's actually. I was thinking it. You're talking about at the box office or total?
Total.
Like with DVD sales and all
it
that
says
too?
Gross, $107 million.
How much do you think Jackie Brown made? I have that one up, unless you have it in front of you.
Oh, no, I don't have it. I'd say Jackie Brown, okay, I know I liked it, but a lot of people didn't. I'm going to give it $79 million.
Why don't you half that? No, actually take $40,000. Take $40 million off of that.
$30 million?
$39 million.
What?
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of rounding, but yeah, 39. If you really want to be factual, it's 39,673,162.
Are you kidding me?
That's what it grossed. Kill Bill. Let's see. Let's go Kill Bill
big.
1.
That's a big one. Now that should be a monster.
Which one do you think made more, Kill Bill 1 or 2?
I'm going 1.
You would be wrong. Kill Bill 1 grossed $22 million on opening. Oh, that's 20. This is opening weekend. Hold on. I apologize. I'm getting this from therichest.com where I'm reading this right now.
What I'm getting
it says that.
What I'm getting for, which one are you looking for?
Well, I was talking about Kill Bill 1.
Okay, Kill Bill 1 grossed. It grossed $70 million. Not bad.
Okay, that makes more sense. But see, what's weird is I'm going off of this article that's telling you what it grossed, right? Total domestic gross. But then all of a sudden it gives me opening weekend for Kill Bill 1, which kind of jacked everything up. So it made how much? $
70 million.
Okay, so Kill Bill 2 grossed $66 million.
That's not bad, dude.
Not bad, but it's not those. How much was that number again for the new one?
375.
Yeah, come on now. Inglourious Bastards, $120 million.
That's a grip, not $375 million.
Django Unchained, that's his top grossing movie, $162 million.
Dude, what are they doing?
So I don't know how they're going to make a profit off this movie.
I think I know how they're going to do it. I think I know their little secret. They're not going to give Quentin Tarantino the keys to the kingdom.
Good luck with that.
They are not going to do it. They're not Weinstein Company. They're going to say, we're going to make $375 million if we have to babysit you every day of this movie. We're going to make this money. Because you're not going... Yeah, they're going to get that money.
They're going to have to market the shit out of this movie to get it to do that.
Well, I mean...
I don't think that the interest is there.
I don't either.
I think a lot of people would be interested in seeing a Manson movie. Or at least... Yeah, I think that a lot of people... I personally would be. I like that kind of thing, though. You know what I mean? I'm into like true crime and all that. So I would be compelled to go see this movie whether or not Quentin Tarantino was directing it or not. But... 300 plus million, dude? I just don't see it happening.
And then
I don't see it
also, if they do, okay, let's just imagine, fine. They put this movie out, they get behind Quentin Tarantino, knowing he's not going to make this sort of money back. If I were Sony, I would take it in the direction and say, okay, look, we've seen the dailies. We're probably, if I were them, I'd say, okay, let's take it more Mindhunter direction so that you're kind of interviewing Manson, getting into his brain, and then he takes you back to what happened. Try to figure this guy out. Make a fake one, like the Hitler dying in Inglourious Bastards. Quentin needs to just invent a new Manson story. Maybe that's what he's doing, but that's what he needs to do. Quentin needs to just invent a Manson story, because I don't remember him ever. If he's actually writing this and it's a real story, I don't remember him ever taking a real story and writing it. You know?
Man, I'm telling you, I think Sony's making a mistake on this one here. I don't see that happening. I really don't.
Yeah, but it's his name.
I don't think that Quentin Tarantino has yet to write his best movie. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think Inglourious is, that's why they did that. This may be my best work or this may be my masterpiece at the end. He knows Inglourious is his masterpiece. He knows it. He's never going to write something that good. It was perfect almost. It was almost a perfect movie.
I really like that movie. I'm more of a fan of Pulp Fiction myself, but I know you didn't really care for that movie very much. But I don't think that he's going to do anything better than either of those movies.
Oh no! I mean, because the table sequence in the beginning, it was so tense to me. I was wondering, where is this going? He was so nice in the beginning, Christoph Waltz, and then all of a sudden he just turns, and woof.
That scene made me uncomfortable just from
totally G. And he was like, oh, this milk is great. Your daughter's wonderful. Your cow's amazing. And the way his face changes and says, are you not hiding? I was just like, oh my God. This just went terribly crazy. And it was the confidence with which Christoph was like, you're going to tell me the truth. I know this.
Such an evil monologue.
So dope.
In that movie.
So dope.
May I? And he's like, may I perhaps have another glass of this?
Yes.
Tasty milk.
Yes.
I mean, he's being pleasant with him, but you know it's coming.
Oh, dude.
It's the villain monologue, you know.
And the reason that it's so good is because of the years he spent rewriting it. Years and years rewriting that story. And it came out perfect. Brad Pitt did a great job. All these people did a great job. I'm not even a big what's his name? Dude from The Office, BJ Novak. I'm not a big BJ Novak fan. BJ Novak did a good job. And so I thought it was good. I think Sony's totally tripping over their shoelaces on this one, but we shall see. We shall see.
Time will tell, yes.
Right? I only have one more story.
You better get it out.
Have you seen this picture of Christian Bale?
You know, why does that sound familiar to me?
Oh, my God.
Not enough to make it stick out. So now, hold on. I got to look it up so we can talk
Christian
about this.
Bale, Dick Cheney.
Yes. Hold on.
Oh,
yes, I did see this.
My God.
Thank you for reminding me of what that was about. But yeah, hold on. There it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, Christian Bale is playing Dick Cheney. And this is a quick story. Just Google Christian Bale playing Dick Cheney. Look at what he looks like now. It's just crazy.
He's another one of those actors that completely gets into
transforms, dude. I mean, after The Machinist, oh my God.
The Machinist, yeah.
Woo!
How much weight did he lose for that one? Like 60 pounds or something?
I'm surprised
like
he doesn't die.
I mean, it can't be good for you.
No, he said, they're like, what did you do to do they're like, there's a quote going around like, what did you do to lose all the weight? He's like, I didn't eat. I'm like, well, that's one way of doing that. He's like, I just did not eat. Yeah, that's how
I'm looking at a side by side right now.
Dude.
It's pretty amazing, dude.
It is out. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what Christian Bale does with it. I generally like Christian Bale. Did you like that one? What was the recent one he did with Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper?
That was called American Hustle.
Did you like it?
I did. It wasn't one of my favorite movies.
Neither. Same with me.
It was one of those ones that I would watch it again probably, but it's not something I'm going to go out looking for. It's another one of those.
Bingo. You
know, changing the channels. Oh, American Hustle's on. I'll watch.
Bingo. If that was the movie that made me get Jennifer Lawrence, I get it. Like before, I didn't get her thing. I'm like, I don't get it. I think she's okay. Then I watched that movie. I'm like, oh, I get why people like her. I get it. She's good.
I love Jennifer Lawrence, man.
I know you do, G. I mean, you even liked, what was the name of the movie? Alice? Jackie? Beth? Joy. There it is. You probably like Joy, too.
I will not admit or deny that I liked
it.
Movie.
I liked it a lot.
No, it's the one, you're referring to the one where she was doing all of the home shopping.
I really like that movie.
Yeah, I liked it. I'm just messing with you. I really don't think there's much that I don't like her in.
She's good.
I know a lot of people hated her as Mystique. And I get it. I get it for all the comic reasons. But I thought she was fine. I realized that they were kind of putting her into the forefront a lot more than they should.
Oh, totally.
But I'm not hating on Jennifer Lawrence for that. She's just got that kind of personality.
I think great. Her and Bradley Cooper. Okay, I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but I think she's not going to be a Tom Hanks Meg Ryan. Not going to happen. Not going to be a Billy Crystal Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan has a hit. I didn't realize she's killing it like that. But they could be a new thing.
Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah, they could do, because they've been in 3 movies together now that I can count. And they do well together. But I think they could do the Meg Ryan where, okay, she could be the Meg Ryan where Meg Ryan was firing on all cylinders with Tom Hanks and Billy Crystal. She just knew how to do that thing. They could make I haven't seen a good romantic comedy like When Harry Met Sally, which we probably won't get. That was a time. And I haven't seen one as good as either You've Got Mail or what was the one with the pen pal or the phone call one with him and Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan? Sleepless in Seattle.
Thank you very much. I don't know why when Harry Met Sally was coming into my head.
Yeah, we're not going to get those, but I think her and Bradley could do it because Bradley eats scenery. I could watch Bradley Cooper. Like on War Dogs, I thought he was one of the best parts of that movie. And he was only in it for like 3 minutes. I thought he was fantastic.
That's somebody that has not made his best movie yet. I can guarantee that. I really feel that about her. And I feel the same way about her too. But those two in Silver Linings Playbook,
they were good.
Dude, that was an incredible movie. That I would say that, if I'm just pulling this off the top of my head right now, I would definitely have to fit that into my top 10 favorite movies lately.
Of all time?
Lately. Just over the last few years. Love that movie. And I'll watch it every single time it comes on. I think they're incredible in that movie.
Okay, next pregame, I'm going to challenge that. First of all, give me years. From what year to what year to this year?
Right now, do that? Or are you saying
give me years. Like, give me, Silver Linings Playbook was made in a certain year. Give me the span of what you would put that top 10 in. Because I know I can. Oh, I can give you 10 movies you liked better than that. Okay, we'll talk about it next week. I can for sure give you 10 movies you've liked better than that.
Okay, fair enough. But I did just say that I'm just kind of pulling that off the top of my head right now. But I will tell you that I absolutely love that movie, and that is one of the movies that I could sit and watch over and over again.
That's fair. I didn't like the dance part. That's all.
I'll give you that, but just their interaction.
Oh yeah,
and,
they were good.
And De Niro.
De Niro. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, De Niro's talk with his son where he cried. Oh my God, that was heartbreaking.
De Niro's insane in that movie.
He is
and his superstitions.
So good. He is so good.
Or when she gets invited into his house and they're starting to watch that game.
Oh.
And then De Niro finds like, oh, this girl knows exactly what's going on.
Yep.
And just her whole play, just her, dude. She just lit that freaking movie up, and I love that movie. So,
and she's. But yes, we're gonna do that on pregame for sure. And I think that's all the news, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you've heard, but this weekend a small movie, and I love independent movies. Don't you like independent movies, Dan?
I like the smaller movies, much like the one we're about to talk about.
Exactly.
Ones that just got made on a shoestring budget.
Yes. So back in the day, a person decided to write this tiny comic book. And finally someone reached back and said, Zack Snyder was like, you know what? I think we could make something out of this. And so he decided to make something, a little movie called Justice League, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Dan, I want to know, because you were semi looking forward to this, but we both were on the same thing. We were hearing stories about reshoots and rewrites and Zack Snyder's unfortunate tragedy in his family, and Joss Whedon then coming in, and they lied. He did take writing credit. He just didn't take directing credit. He did take writing credit. After all the bullcrap that happened behind the scenes of this movie, Dan, what did you think about Justice League?
I found Justice League to be fully entertaining, man. I actually liked it a lot. I had a good time in the movie. I do not think that it was the greatest movie I've ever seen. But I enjoyed the hell out of myself in this one. And there's reasons that as we get into this, that I'll give you. It's a lot better than what I was expecting it to be. I'll tell you that much. I got kind of fixated on all the trailer footage, where I noticed now that a lot of the footage that we were seeing in the trailer was coming from the climax. Mm-hmm. So there was lots of red and lots of CGI, and that was really throwing me off. And that's not to say that I still don't think that way, but I really liked it. I liked the way that they all played off of each other. Don't have all positive things to say about it. But I dug it a lot. And I will explain these things that I'm saying as we go along in this conversation. Steve, what say you?
I freaking loved this movie. There was no, I'm going to be like, other than this. I mean, there's going to be things we did like, okay, we're going to pick through what we didn't like. But dude, I came out of this movie having had so much fun. I mean, it was so good to me. From the beginning to the end, I thought it was just a freaking fun movie. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I thought that they got the tone right. I definitely smelled Joss Whedon all over it. I also smelled Zack. I did smell a lot of Zack, but I think Joss Whedon definitely put his stamp on this movie. You know, he knew exactly. I got to give him props for coming in and taking over after such a terrible thing happened with Zack Snyder. But man, look, man, if it was bad, I would have destroyed this movie. If it was okay, I would have destroyed this movie. That means it had to jump over both of those hurdles to get up to I loved it. And it hurdled it, and I loved it. So
my complaints.
I mean, man, like, okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Give me your list of things you did like first. Tell me what you did like about this movie.
Okay, but I will tell you this thing. My complaints are super small. Mm-hmm. I'm more in the Steve Hudson camp of loving this movie. Did I love this movie? Hold on. I'm not going to put words in my mouth because you loved it. And it's weird because when we talk about movies, you don't usually go so strong, especially with the newer ones that have been coming out.
Yes.
I think that I will know if I loved this movie when I see it again.
Okay.
And I do plan on seeing it again. I may even see, well, I keep saying I'm going to do everything tonight. I was planning on doing that, but I know we're starting to record it kind of late now. Yeah. So that's not going to happen. But I will see it again. I will see it again this week for sure. Okay. And then I will tell you whether or not I loved it.
Totally
but
fair.
I liked it a lot. You said you want to know what I liked about it?
What did you like about it? Give me some specifics.
I really liked the way that the team worked off of each other.
Okay.
I love that. I like how it came together. I found it to be humorous, even though I have some things to say about Ben Affleck's performance in this one. I like that he was kind of more, it was like Bruce and Batman were almost insecure, even though they were confident. I don't know. I think you're on the fence about her, but I really like Gal Gadot. I think she is the perfect Wonder Woman. I was really surprised by Ezra Miller's performance. I thought even though he was funny, I was expecting it to be a little, I don't know. It didn't hit me in the hilarity kind of way like, say, Thor Ragnarok did, but I found him to be completely entertaining and really funny and like charming. There was a couple scenes in the movie where I just thought he was owning it. You know what I mean? Momoa was a lot better than I expected him to be. I liked I liked seeing all that Atlanta stuff and I just liked the way that he was, like the lasso scene. I don't think we're going to get quite into spoilers just yet, but that whole lasso scene with him and Wonder Woman I found was really funny. There's just a lot of little things I liked about this movie. What were some of your highlights?
I think one of my highlights, here's the big one. They gave Superman a sense of humor. That's who Superman is. Superman is funny. From Christopher Reeve, from the comic, everything. He's not just a brooding mess. They gave Superman a sense of humor. I'll admit, when he first came out, he first was resurrected, I was worried because he had that same Superman thing. Like, the funny thing is people thought that he was mean or mad. I'm like, you know what's
dark
weird?
Superman.
Yes, but that dark Superman is how Superman normally is in all the movies. And it's almost like they resurrected him and changed him to what he should be. So he resurrected as normal Superman we've seen because what was so dark about him? He's been brooding all the movies. But then all of a sudden, he turned into this really funny guy that makes these quips like Spider-Man while he's fighting you. Little quips that are just funny. Is this guy bugging you? That is Superman. Yeah. That is who Superman is.
Absolutely, man. This definitely was the best version of Zack Snyder's Superman. But I have something to say about that.
What's that?
Was this Zack Snyder's Superman? Because I think, from what I heard, I think they reshot most of the Superman.
They did, because that's why his face looks so strange.
Like right at the beginning. I didn't notice it too much. I noticed it right from jump when there was that scene with the video.
Bad.
With the phone video.
Terrible.
I'm like, oh shit, this is what we're in for the whole time?
I was like, whew.
I could not take my eye off of his upper lip. So anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, Henry Cavill is actually filming, is it Mission Impossible, right?
Yeah, Mission Impossible.
He's filming one of the Mission Impossible movies right now, and for the role, he has this pretty substantial mustache that he's been rocking. You've probably seen him in pictures. I know he was like that at the premiere. They went back in for reshoots, and they CGI'd the mustache off, and I could not take my eye off of it. I couldn't, man. I couldn't get past it. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, this is the first scene. Let's see what happens. But you're absolutely right. This is the best version of Superman that we've seen so far in the DC universe.
But they
I
think that's Joss. I think that's Joss.
I think so too. So who knows what he's going to go back to, you know? But I think 100% that Joss had to do with him being a more likable Superman this time, because quite frankly, I did not care for him in either the Man of Steel or I thought he had the look. He totally looks like Superman.
Oh yeah, now.
I mean,
yes.
Unmistakably, except for that funky fake mustache thing that he had going on. But I just was never down with it. I've watched those movies several times. I find them visually, I really like the way they look.
Yes.
But I just could never get down with Superman. And I think you're right. I think this was definitely the movie. I wish he would have been in the movie more. Let's say that.
Oh, no. I mean, look, I love that Joss Whedon retroactively changed Superman. Like when he showed the video of the kids talking to him, he wasn't brooding. He was just like answering questions. And here's what's so dope.
And smiling.
There's the quote that smiling, just answering questions on the picture. Oh, hey kids. And there's a quote that they cut off that was genius. And I'm not going to tell you what it is until later on in spoilers, but they ask him another question. He looks at the camera, starts smiling, and before he can answer, it goes right into Justice League, right? And I said, this is interesting, but I thought they were just going to go right back to brooding Superman. But Superman is super freaking doing fun stuff. Even in some of the stuff that happens later, he does something just for fun. Totally for fun. Let's have some fun. So Superman is number one thing that I liked. Number two, totally Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa is a superstar. He is a freaking superstar. I knew it when I saw the commercials, but then you had me worrying because I'm like, it could be just the commercials. It could be just the trailers. But when doing his thing, he's a superstar. Aquaman is perfect for Jason Momoa. I mean, he found his groove. Now, can he carry his own film? I don't know. But if this is any sort of sign, I think the Aquaman film could do amazing things for Jason Momoa. They said that they cut his origin story out of this movie for certain reasons, which is good. That means they're going to put it all in the next movie. So I'm very eager to see what they get from that. And so that's the second thing I liked. The third thing I like, now everyone else is not going to like him. Even my son was like, he was okay. I dug Steppenwolf.
Yeah, I can't agree with you there.
No one does. Trust me. I don't, his name freaks me out. If I was a superhero brand new and someone was like, yeah, we're going to fight Steppenwolf, I was like, whoa. Who the heck is this Steppenwolf character? He sounds wolfy. And I don't know what he is.
and very steppy.
Exactly, very steppy. And so, but when they showed him, his groove was dope. Like how he beat someone up and then start walking slowly to finish the job. I liked it. His size was really cool. Now his backstory, I don't know his backstory as far as how he was created. But I thought that a lot of times DC has a problem with villains. I thought this villain was good enough. It was a good enough villain where I was just like, I could see how he's menacing. They got a very menacing person. The CGI wasn't that great.
That's what I'm hung up on, man. That's why I just couldn't see past it.
I totally get that.
The CGI was so bad for Steppenwolf. And I'm not one that usually jumps on that kind of bandwagon. Mm-hmm. And I've really been trying to not, for the purpose I knew we were going to talk about this, I really tried not to read any spoilers. I tried not to get too many other people's opinions because it was everywhere. I just wanted to go in as cold as I could.
Totally understandable.
And see if I could like this movie as much as I like a Marvel movie, And but I just could not get past that. That said, I think that the character of Steppenwolf was good enough.
Yes.
I liked the storyline of Steppenwolf, and I liked when he would come down in the boom tube.
Yes.
I thought that was really dope when he was looking for the mother boxes and everything like that, but I just could not get past it. So again, this is why I want to go see the movie again, because there were certain things that I was just hung up on that I think kind of clouded what my whole like full opinion of the movie is.
Totally
I like to see movies like this, especially something that I want to talk about. I want to see multiple times, and I need to see this one more time just to really get my full, opinion of this one. That said, I feel that Steppenwolf was the weakest part of the movie.
Totally understandable. The number 3, and this is the I think. Well, I had like 2 more. Number 3. This is other than Superman. Obviously, being very hyped. I'm very excited, and Momoa being excited to see Momoa doing his thing. I think the star of this movie is someone I didn't even want to be in this movie. It's a person that I wanted someone else to replace for this movie. The star of this movie is The Flash.
Absolutely, dude.
He is the star of this freaking movie. There is a part with him and Superman that his look made me laugh so hard. I was almost on the ground at how he was looking at Superman. It's so good. But his little quirks, and this is not a spoiler. He says something that's very interesting. He says, I have to keep on eating because my body metabolizes so fast. That makes total sense. He has to eat because his body has to burn something in order for him to run fast. So he has to eat all the time.
They do that on the Flash TV show all the time. He's always eating.
I think it should be way more part of the show. He should be eating I'm talking about just like Brad Pitt in Ocean's 11, how he ate nonstop, where there were chips, where he was always munching on something. They should be. You
just want Barry Allen to have a trough,
always.
Basically.
Because he's like, I always have to eat. And I thought it was an interesting possibility. Not saying this is going to happen, but it opens an issue where it's like, if I capture Flash, I just starve him. And then he can't run fast. Don't let him eat, can't run fast. That will be an interesting thing for someone to do.
Not a bad idea.
But anyway, I thought with his little quirks, his little funny things, he's acting the way all of us would act if we ran into these superheroes. He was excited to see an okay, decent lair. He was blown away by the stuff. He was like, oh my gosh, look at this. Oh my goodness, look at this. Now this it was just a bunch of different things that were just so cool. And he says one thing, which is another Easter egg. He says, I don't speak any languages except for sign language. That's a big Easter egg because there's another thing he sometimes fight that only speaks sign language. But we'll see if that comes into play later on.
Oh, you're going deep.
Yeah.
I know where you're getting at. I know what you're going for.
And that's obviously what they were shooting for. And but it was so but they think he's the star too. Because they do something with him. They think certain people are the stars of this movie. I think it's Joss. When he watched The Daily, he was like, oh, I see who the 2 people that people are going to want to see. There's no question. This guy's a star. He didn't have that astronaut outfit. I remember seeing a picture of him with a big old astronaut outfit on, and he didn't have it. So I'm very excited for that. They didn't tie in that weird going back in time sequence that we saw in Batman and Batman versus Superman. We didn't see that. We remember when he came back in time in front of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
they didn't tie that in, and I'm like, I guess they just throw it away.
I just saw something online about that just today.
Yeah,
and you're talking about where he's like, save
Diana.
Wasn't he saying, was he saying save Diana? Is that what it was?
Something like that.
Or was it save? No. It was save Lois. That's right. It was save Lois. Save Lois. So what this video said was that, and again, it was just fan theory stuff, but it was like saying that maybe, because, like I'm sure some of these things are going to be tied back into future movies.
Yeah.
And they were saying that maybe that could have been with like him saying, hey, save Lois because Dark Superman's about to lose his shit. Maybe. When they woke him back up again. That's what it was saying. So, I mean, it's kind of a...
And maybe in the other universe, the Lois dies, and when they bring back Dark Superman, he's dark. And so they're like, all right, from now on, his main focus needs to be saving Lois Lane. That could be it.
Man, all I know is Flashpoint can't come. 2020 cannot come soon enough.
I
really cannot wait to see this movie.
Now, the next thing that I loved about it is how unbelievably smart they made Bruce Wayne. I like how this time around, he understood what his gift was. He totally understood it. Like, there was a part where he dropped them off to fight, and he was just like, okay, I got to do something else. I will add nothing to this fight. I won't add anything.
Completely your department.
Yes, this is all you. And they even look at him like, oh. And that adds to what you're saying, where he's just like, I can't add anything anymore. I'm just really, really smart. And the reason that, here's the dope thing. Here's the thing. When he runs into Flash, I'm not going to say what he says, but he ascertains what Flash is. He doesn't know Barry Allen has a power, but he's looking at his suit and he ascertains that because of the makeup of this suit, he figures out what probably this is. And he takes a risk beyond risk thinking he's right. But if he was wrong, it had devastating consequences. And I may be reaching, but I was like, that's how much he relies on his intellect. He's like, no, I'm this smart. I understand certain things. And so that's another thing. The intellect of Batman was really put on blast on this one. Especially from the first scene. Well, second scene. From the second scene of this movie, how wise Batman is put on blast. How he lures people into his perfect traps is put on blast. The last and final thing that I will say that I really liked about this movie was the pacing. There wasn't a time where I was super duper bored. I was never bored through this whole movie. It keeps moving because you could only fight so many people leading to the bad guy. But even without fights, they keep it going. The pacing was great. And I'm sorry, there is one more thing. I got to give it to Ray Fisher. He was the heart of this movie for me.
I was wondering what you were going to say about Cyborg. Yeah.
He actually, I did not like, mind you, one of the bad things I'm going to say, I did not like his armor or exoskeleton or whatever. I thought it looked terrible. The CGI was just, I don't think they were finished. They weren't finished with the CGI, period. But he brought the whole thing heart. Everyone else was moving on such a we're superheroes level where he brought it to heart. There was one point where he actually told Superman what he needed him to do. Straight up, this is what I need from you. I'm like, okay, this is Cyborg. And his abilities were put on front. And mind you, I was not ready to like Cyborg. I thought Cyborg was going to be horrible. I thought he did a fantastic job with it. He made Cyborg super fun. I think that it leaves a wide open space for a Cyborg movie because we don't know exactly what he can do yet. Cyborg can do a lot, and we have not seen the half of it. We haven't seen how good he fights. We haven't seen any of that, how strong he is. We haven't seen it. We just seen his ability to be able to get into electronics and do whatever he wants. There's a part, this isn't even a spoiler, where Bruce Wayne said, my ship doesn't go that fast. And Ray Fisher says, for me, it will. Letting him know, I can do things that you can't with your thing.
Isn't that when he was trying to control the Batmobile? Or no, that was different. Because I remember when he tells Alfred, he goes, I'll take it from here. He's like, do I know you? Yeah. So those are the things I liked about the movie. So I'm going to ask you, Dan, what didn't you like about this movie? I thought it was super CGI heavy. And I can usually get past that okay. And quite frankly, I did on this one too. But I was really, really hung up on Steppenwolf. I just couldn't get past it. Okay. Anytime that he was on there. Like I said earlier, I feel like this might be Affleck's last movie.
Really?
I feel like he kind of phoned it in, man. I don't know how to put it. I just feel like he was saying all the right lines for the movie, but it just didn't seem like Affleck's heart was in it. And I don't normally say stupid movie critical shit like that. The energy that was coming off of Affleck's Bruce Wayne was a low point for me.
Okay. What else?
There's really not that much. It was a CGI thing. And even though I liked Affleck in this one, I felt like his heart wasn't in it. That's the best way to put it. Compared to, say, Batman versus Superman, where I thought that he rocked that movie. He was the best part about that movie. I didn't feel it was, maybe it was because he had so many other dynamic people around him. That could have been it right there. Maybe he just had so many more dynamically strong characters in this one that they were amping the Flash. They were amping Cyborg. And of course, Wonder Woman is coming off of her freaking hit movie. So I think that they were definitely amping her too. I just feel like he kind of got lost in that a little bit. And I felt like
okay.
So yeah, that's what I think.
I will say a few of the things I didn't like. Big one, none of the CGI was ready. None of it. Not one thing. Well, let me change that because some of the Gotham City might be CGI'd. But most of it just was not ready. I think that, like, can you name one piece of CGI that you thought looked amazing?
I don't know about amazing, but I will say that where I didn't mind it at all and I thought it actually added to it, and maybe it was perhaps the different colored bolts. I really liked how Flash looked when he was running and all the lightning that was around him. I like that. I thought that was actually good. But I know I'm in full agreement with you. I feel like the CGI was the major flaw of this movie.
I think the other thing that I was not really digging is the relationship, the little flirty thing that they had going with Wonder Woman and Cyborg. I don't know why they even did that. Like, what was the point?
I don't think that it was a flirtation thing. I know what you're talking about. I think she just liked him as a person. And I think that she was, that she was also more like, she was kind of impressed with the things that he could do. But I didn't get that. No, if anything, like, I know that there was a lot of people talking about Wonder Bat. You know, they want the Batman and Wonder Woman relationship, which I'm actually really glad they didn't do that. I don't think that. I really don't think that she was, like, into him. Is there a reason that you think that?
I mean, she seemed to be what one would call flirting. But you might be right. I don't know, man. It seemed like he was flirting with him and the man of Batness.
I think that's just her. I think that's just this very unusually attractive woman saying these things, and it just sounds like a flirt.
I am never going to get used to Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. It's just never going to happen. I'm always going to want Sister Girl from Game of Thrones. Always.
Who are you referring to?
What's her name? Gwendolyn Christie. I always wanted Gwendolyn Christie for I'm lost. Wonder Woman.
Is this something were they talking about this at one point, or is this just something in your head?
No, they weren't.
Oh, this is just in your crazy head then. Okay, all right.
Yes, I'm never going to see Gal Gadot, and it's not just Gwendolyn Christie. I think they should have used a bigger person for an Amazon. Period. They just went for beauty. That's what they did.
I respect your opinion, but I think it's a little nitpicky. I think that I really do. I don't know, but that's just me.
How?
Because you're locked onto a person that was never in the running for it.
Oh, but I'm not saying I'm saying anyone that was bigger than her. Anyone. Because if you look at the other Amazons, most of them were just bigger than she was.
But she wasn't truly from them, though. She was Zeus's daughter. Zeus created her, He made her out of clay, excuse me. But
yeah.
So, you know.
But it's just like making Thor. Then they should have made. It was like making Thor skinny and small. You wouldn't, because he's a god's son, so you wouldn't make him skinny and small. But they made her skinny with no. I mean, It's Zack freaking Snyder, G. Of course he would. Of course he would. Why else would he?
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one. I think she actually is a.
You see her as
Totally.
her? That would have been your first pick?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm pro Gal Gadot for sure.
Okay.
One thing I didn't like about it, and it actually had to do with Wonder Woman, and I think it had more to do with the CGI again, was when she jumped in and there was that big shootout, and they were going to mow down all of those hostages. And so they're going, brrr, and she was like, it was the way that her arms were moving. Do you know what I'm talking about? When she was deflecting all of those with her bracelet, I couldn't get behind that too much. But I think that was something I couldn't get past. I just thought it looked kind of cheesy. Not so much the actions that she was doing, as just how the CGI made it come out. But that's what movies are for, right? I mean, just because I like something doesn't mean that you have to like it.
No, I'm used to this. Everyone loves her. I don't get it.
I think you're being a jerk. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
I might be. Nah. It's true. I might be. But
you have strong opinions, and that's okay.
This is where the rubber meets the road. Dan, in your opinion, what does this mean for DC? Does this mean something, or do you think, well, Joss Whedon plus Zack Snyder makes a good movie, or do you think no, this is a direction Warner Brothers is now going? Because or do you just think this is a one-off? Because remember, they're not going to make the money they think they're going to make. So do you think that's going to make them say, oh, I guess people wanted the other thing?
It's hard to say that because you've got Joss Whedon's involvement. So the next movie can be completely different. But what I will say is that if they can pull off what they did, even if Zack Snyder is involved with the next one, they need to keep it up at that level. And if they can keep it up at that level and even improve on it more than that, then I think that they are going to start rivaling Marvel. Right now, they only have these 2 movies in their belt, in my opinion, to actually, to do anything. I think it's Wonder Woman and Justice League. I think the other ones so far have been snooze fest, and I could not stand Suicide Squad. I think that movie was a total failure. I'm not talking monetarily. I'm just talking, because I don't even know what it made, in the box office, but I just felt it was weak. I thought that Jared Leto could have done more. And I know that some of the scenes that he was supposed to have in the movie, they weren't there. So I can't really count that one as being an amazing movie. I did like Wonder Woman better than I liked this movie. I will say that. I think it looked better.
Really? Now that's an interesting thing.
No, aesthetically, I think it was way better because there wasn't all this CGI that was kind of distracting me. I think it was a better written movie, but I think that this movie, it was more fun.
I mean, this movie, in my opinion, is so much better than Wonder Woman. I mean, I think it lapped it.
Well, good.
I thought it lapped Wonder Woman. But the thing is, I have to understand what Wonder Woman did for me was I came in with way low expectations, and I have to understand that it had to overcome a lot more than Justice League did for me to like it, and it did, and I liked Wonder Woman. But a lot of the reason I liked Wonder Woman was it was so cool to see a female superhero being so awesome, and so it touched me in a sweet spot. But Justice League, I think what this says to DC, they obviously were like, look, Joss Whedon came from Marvel, right?
Right.
And so he had to let them know, look, if we're going to be rivaling these cats, he brought the Marvel sensibility over. He's like, I know why people like my movies. I know why people like it. And so what he did was he's like, let me take these ingredients and sprinkle them over here. In my opinion, Marvel should have been freaked out that Joss Whedon was coming over. They should have lost their crap. They were like, oh no, our secret sauce is leaving. Now Favreau's still there, and Favreau knows how to do his thing. People don't give him props. That dude knows how to make a movie.
Well, he's the man.
He will make a movie. If they said, well, Joss Whedon's leaving, the next Avengers blah blah is going to be directed by Jon Favreau, I'd be like, and guess what's going to be a hit? That movie. Because Jon Favreau knows how to make a ridiculously good movie. But that sauce sprinkle, I could see it over here where that last the credit sequence where Superman and Flash raced. How fun was that?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that as a closer scene, and again,
that was so good.
And again, it makes Superman a better Superman than he's been so far. Fun for no reason. They kind of humanized him, and they let him, freaking pull the stick out of his ass, basically. He was a great Superman this time, and it's great. But to answer your question,
so good.
What you were saying about what I think this holds for the DC universe, if they can maintain that, provided that Joss Whedon's contribution isn't what set this movie apart from the rest of the other movies, I think they've got something awesome. And kind of going straight to, honestly, the 2 things that I'm looking forward to most with the DC universe, I got to see Flashpoint. I think Flashpoint can be a make or break situation, but if they do that movie right, it's going to be huge because Ezra Miller is going to just destroy that. I think if they write it correctly.
He's gonna do a fantastic.
It's all gonna be in the script, man. It's all got to be in the writing. But if they have the good writing there, he's got the chops to make that. He's a perfect Barry Allen, and that takes a lot for me to say, being how much I like Grant Gustin. But he is great, and that's what my son and I were kind of that way too. We are very Grant Gustin, we're pro Grant Gustin, but he hasn't seen it yet. And I was talking to him this morning. I'm like, dude, just as good, just different.
Yeah, I mean, look, dude, I smiled so much during this movie. And when Superman came in and he's like, oh, thank you for, Flash was like, thank you for meeting me here. And Superman said, you know what? I was curious myself. Like, I was wondering who's faster. That's something you'd hear Tony Stark say. And little things. Now, I think what Zack did, there's a scene where you saw the Ace factory, the Ace chemical factory. I wouldn't be surprised if Zack Snyder did that.
The more that we're talking about this here, I'm really starting to see, as I'm thinking about it, that all these scenes that we're talking about are kind of Whedonized. What I'm doing is I'm comparing like Batman versus Superman to this. And you can see where the tone goes dark in this movie. But Whedon is so good with making things fun. Now that I'm thinking about it, I have a feeling that he probably did that scene too. I'm pretty sure he did all of the Superman reshoots over again. And it would make sense because Superman's been such a snooze fest. Maybe Whedon's like, look, I'll do this twofold. First of all, I'm helping a brother out who's in the darkest time of his life. But at the same time, if I'm going to do this, I got to get my Superman in there. Because this Superman is to the curb, and I'm not feeling it.
He did it for the fans. He's like, I'm going to do this because people have been waiting for this. It's the right thing to do. People have been waiting for this, and it's for my friend. And here's the one scene I don't know who was in charge of. And I'm interested to see your opinion. Who was in charge of Dark Superman?
I would probably say that was written in by Snyder. Just because that was more, like you said earlier, that's kind of how he's always been. You said it yourself. You've had Dark Superman for the last 2 movies. So, yeah, I would think so.
So that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, if you're asking me, I would say that probably Snyder did that one.
Because I think here's what Snyder does well. Forget everything that he set up. He's not a person that needs to... Because look, so Superman dies. At the end of the second movie, or the end of the last movie, right? Batman vs. Superman, right. You see the rock start to rise. But nope, in this one, he's still dead. No biggie. They're not going to use the sun to do anything. Nope. Throw it away. I'm like, I thought it was going to use the power of the sun to make him bust out of the box. The ending, that ending was pointless then. He didn't even adhere to it. He just tossed it out and said, nah, turns out we need some magical cube to raise him up. Then why even have that little thing there then?
It makes no sense to me.
I think he had plans on doing something. And then when he rises up, he goes dark. And you remember, how long did they talk about him going dark? Like 5 minutes?
Yeah, it was ultra brief. Well, then again, he wasn't in the movie that much. So yeah, they had to make it quick.
Yeah, so they're like, oh man, what if he goes dark? Hey, we're going to have to do this. Oh, we have a bunch of, we got to bring in the big guns. Oh my goodness, he comes up, he's dark. And then he gets a hug and he's back to normal Superman. I'm like, oh, that's all they're going to, oh, he's just back to normal now?
Hey man, Superman, like repercussions? It does not take much for Superman to change his mind about things.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to fucking kill you. My mom's name is Martha. We're bros forever, you know?
I'm going to kill you all. You just shot something at me. This is insanity. Oh, I'm hugging Lois. Oh, well, holla at your boy. I'm about to dip down to the ranch. You know what I'm saying? Come back. Everything's butter. When he came back, everyone should have been like, hey, yo, are you cool? Or are we going to have to watch you?
Lois kind of hit him with some of that Black Widow stuff that she did to the Hulk. You've seen Ultron. Never mind.
I did long time ago, G.
Well, I don't want to say anything because you are like the last person on earth that hasn't seen Thor yet. So
I haven't. I'm gonna watch it. I was gonna watch it tonight, but my son's staying here overnight, and so I'm just like, I might still go though.
Take him to see the movie.
He's already
seen it.
Yeah,
he's already seen it.
He said of course he loved it, but for me, like I said, the Ace thing that means the Joker's coming. Now I want to go into a different thing before we close out. So Zack Snyder, we have to assume that he got all these superhero movies on the strength of ones that he's done well, which is Dawn of the Dead, 300, Watchmen was, I don't know if I liked it. A lot of people didn't. And then he goes to Legends of the Guardians, Sucker Punch, and then he gets Man of Steel. Now, I don't know how, right? Because remember, Tim Burton wanted it too. And he was darn close to getting it with Nicolas Cage.
I'm really glad that didn't come to fruition.
I know. Zack got it. Now, I would have liked to see a Kevin Smith written Man of Steel. I would have really liked to see that. But Zack got it. And then Zack got Batman versus Superman. He got Justice League, and he has Justice League 2. Do you think he has earned that? Or is he just riding off a 300?
That's a really good question. I don't really care for the other movies. You know what I'm saying? I don't care for them.
That's what I'm saying.
I love Dawn of the Dead. I love that. But now, no, he's just sort of attached to it now, you know?
Yes.
I would like to see, well, I don't know, I think that would be like sleeping with the enemy, but I would like to see what James Gunn could do.
That would be good. I think, because they said Man of Steel 2 is not coming out in the unforeseeable future. It's not even in the distant future coming. We don't know when that's coming because I think, which is great news, Henry Cavill is connected to Man from U.N.C.L.E. 2, which is going to be amazing. I already know. But that means that we're not going to see a Superman until Justice League 2, which has Zack Snyder directing again. So Joss Whedon's gone. Now we're going to be able to see how much was Zack and how much was Joss.
Zack Snyder's kind of getting all the credit because it was a Zack Snyder movie, but with the introduction of Joss Whedon doing all these things, I can't make an opinion. I really can't, because I'm really, really convinced that most of the things that I liked about this movie revolved around Joss Whedon.
So do I. So am I. And think about Joss Whedon. Think about this real quick. That means Joss Whedon is not a dumb guy. We can all agree on that. He's not a dumb person as far as directing goes. That means he said, we know that this CGI mustache is going to look like hot garbage. But regardless of that, we have got to do reshoots. So what did this movie look before that? Mm-hmm. When he was willing to be like, I don't care that it's going to look like straight garbage. This is a necessity that outweighs how bad it's going to look. Dude, what did that original movie look like, bro?
Yeah, and I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm repeating myself. And if I am, folks, I'm sorry about that. But it's just that I really think that Whedon was like, I will do this for you, again, as a favor to a brother. But mostly, I got to fix Superman.
For real, dog. I
got to fix Superman. So I have a feeling that Superman was just the snooze fest that he has been. He so much looks like what Superman, to me, would look like. But it's just, that's it. It stops there. He is the most boring superhero that I've seen come out in a very long time, and he was fun this time.
Oh, he
around.
made.
And
dude,
I just hope. I hope that.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I hope that Zack Snyder can just emulate that a little bit, because people. I'm sure how many podcasts right now, Steve, right now are talking about this. You know what I mean? How many are out there?
A lot.
Right. And I'm very curious to see what they say, because I really, whereas I don't have a lot of the strong comic base to really go off on this, I can just tell you from a straight up viewer that this was no Zack Snyder Superman.
No way. So, even look at the go-between between Batman and Superman. When Superman says, he's like, I know you didn't bring me here because you like me. And he's like, I don't, that's Joss Whedon.
Yes.
Zack Snyder's not writing that for the brooding Batman. That is a Joss Whedon be like, I don't hate you. That is a freaking Joss Whedon thing. Even the whole when and this is why this was the spoiler I was going to get to. I'm glad you brought it up to mine. When Steppenwolf was so strong through the whole movie, they set him up beating up everybody. Did you see how easy Superman handled him? He rocked him. He was a setup to show, oh, by the way, just in case you forgot, the things that are super duper hard for everyone else is a lightweight thing for Superman. When he came back, he was like, is this guy still bothering you? And took him out, G. Game time.
He's like, your weapon of choice, Steppenwolf. I'm just going to go ahead and for the first time, again, I think this is a Whedon thing, I'm going to go ahead and use my breath, the super breath.
And have fun while doing it.
Destroy your weapon. And then, I'm going to destroy your weapon too.
And then when Steppenwolf swung at him, he smiled as the punch went by him. He smiled saying, oh, you're this slow? This is you? This is the best you got going for you. And then, and I loved how, dude, here's the thing. Here's what made me jump out of my seat. And I said, that's Superman. Oh, and this is Joss Whedon. When they pulled that thing apart, and he said, never mind, I wish I was dead. And they were just laughing. And Wonder Woman said, I'm with children. I am with...
Yeah.
Do you think Zack Snyder wrote that, G?
Not at all. I don't think Zack Snyder's written a joke in his life. I don't.
I guarantee it was like...
That's why I'm so mixed about this movie, man. I like it on the whole. But I just don't know if we're going to be able to reproduce this.
No.
In fact, and I was going to ask you, how much influence do you think Whedon had with Barry Allen?
Oh, dude.
And I'm calling him Barry because they never called him the Flash in that movie, if you know.
Dude. Everything.
It's all Whedon, right?
I mean,
one scene comes to mind, and it's when they were talking to Commissioner Gordon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and
they were all there
dipped.
talking to him, and then they all just dipped. Yeah, and then they all just disappeared.
Dude, that was
rude. And shoom,
Here is where Joss, in my opinion, mind you, everybody, we might be totally wrong. I don't think we are. I think if they said scene by scene, I think we get 80% of which one was Joss and which was.
I think you're right. It's a lot hard. It's a lot easier than it
totally
seemed.
Okay, when Barry Allen said, "Oh, I don't know what I do. I'm just gonna dip around Superman real quick and get him from the back." When he saw Superman's eyes catch him, how much did you laugh when his face went crazy? Like, what?
You're like, yeah.
And it kept on going back and forth.
That was a scene that Gail and I actually both bust out laughing. It was hilarious.
I mean, but think about that. They did it so smartly because the whole time it showed him getting around people, Wonder Woman and everybody, when their eyes never, ever connected with his. And it made it a point to be like, no. Let's show you how weird it is by someone's eyes actually connecting. It threw me off. I was like, oh, snap. His eyes just left and looked at him. And Barry Allen looked at him like, is he looking at me? What is happening right now? So that is, if that is a Joss Whedon thing. We have to be like, in my opinion, that Dark Superman scene probably was just dark. And Joss was like, we have got to lighten this mood. So let's have Flash do something. Yes.
He could have done that too.
We're going to have to put some funny in here just to lighten the mood a little bit. And so when he looked at him, he's like, oh, that's funny. And then when it showed, remember, Superman dipped off, and then I guarantee that's where it ended. I'm not guaranteeing. I have a feeling it ended there with Zack Snyder's, and Joss Whedon put in yep, I'm definitely bleeding. That's not a Zack Snyder thing, G. That's not a Zack.
Something's bleeding.
Yes, something's bleeding. That is not a Zack Snyder thing, G. He realized that Joss Whedon was like, we have got to lighten this mood. We have to, because this is where people need to laugh.
His movies tend to have the tone of like The Watchmen.
Yes, dude.
Beautiful movies, but dark.
You know what's funny? Here's what I imagine Zack Snyder. We're watching. If I watch a movie with Zack Snyder, like watching one of his movies, I'm an executive. We'll be watching the movie, and then all of a sudden Zack Snyder's like, "Do you see that? That was funny, right?" We're all looking at him like, "I'm sorry. What are we? Was that supposed to be a joke right there, or like he'll be the one laughing, and we're all looking at each other like, oh, this is what you consider putting in some levity? That thing right there?" And he's just cracking up. I don't think he understands what funny is. I really don't. He thinks...
It would be so great if they could just work it out to where they just do this movie 50-50.
But dude, exactly. Because if we go back to brooding Batman and brooding Superman, G...
I'm out.
I mean...
And that's not true. I'll watch the next one.
We're going to watch...
No,
it's going to make money. Here's the issue. People look at the bottom line, and so these executives are going to look at this movie didn't even make as much as the first Iron Man in this opening weekend.
You want to know what? I went at 2:00 in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. There were 10 people in the theater. I counted.
But that's Warner Brothers' fault. They did this to themselves. People aren't trusting it anymore. They're not trusting it. They did the same thing with Wonder Woman. Word of mouth started getting out, and Wonder Woman's word of mouth was way better than Justice League's word of mouth. Right now, people are going to be like, oh, you could... I guarantee people are saying, oh, it was so good. Well, can I wait for it for video? Yeah, you could wait for it for video. Guaranteed. A lot of people aren't saying you have to see this in the theater. Some people are probably like, you could see it on video. I'm sure of it. You know what I'm saying? So, and especially now that you get a video like this within 2 months, they're going to be like, if it doesn't have legs, it's going to be on Netflix, or not Netflix. It's going to be on Redbox in 2 months, or video on demand in 2 months. Hopefully it has legs, because I want people to listen. I want executives to see that if you put stuff like this out, people will go see it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nerds to shoot themselves in the foot saying, well, it wasn't good enough. But look at where they're going. They're going in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is, now that we're going to see Zack Snyder directing another one, are they going in the right direction? That's the question, man. And I guess only time's going to tell it.
The end scene, dude, with Deathstroke. Joe Manganiello.
Dude.
So good. But the thing that got me even more about that, even though I don't care for the Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, I still felt that he was...
I dug him.
I still was annoyed when I heard him talk. I liked that he was bald. I liked that he was more in the role that, like how Lex would be. When he said that it's time for us to form our own Justice League, I almost fainted, dude. And I know that it would probably be the Injustice League is what they'd call that. But if they called that the Legion of Doom, it would be so good to me as an old man watching the Super Friends, man. I know I'm a little bit older than you, and I know that makes a big difference when you're a kid. You know what I mean? But the scene that keeps popping up in my head anytime that I think of Legion of Doom is that the Legion of Doom fortress coming out of that swamp. I mean, dude, who would get... We'd have Solomon Grundy. We'd have freaking Black Manta.
Oh, there we go.
We'd have Bizarro. I've always wanted to see Bizarro, come to the screen. I'm so freaking excited to see the Injustice League or whatever it's going to be. Hopefully it'll be... I would love for it to be its own movie, but probably
it's going to be connected with Justice League too.
Justice League versus the Injustice League. I don't even care. Now that that's on the table, dude, it's so...
Yeah, I'm very interested in if they do this because, okay, let's just say it is Justice League. They're going to put him in the Justice League too, which sounds like that's what's going to happen.
It would make sense.
Zack Snyder's at the helm, dude.
It'll look really cool.
And mind you, look, dude... Maybe Joss Whedon's going to be able to talk to him and be like, look, man, this is the direction you need to go. Don't know what to tell you.
I really think that the lower box office draw is Snyder related. I mean, you didn't get that for Wonder Woman.
Sure didn't. Well, no, remember the Wonder Woman came out okay, but it had legs because people were worried about it. They were worried about it. But it had legs and it kept on going. This one's not going to have the legs Wonder Woman had because the reviews are mixed. The reviews weren't mixed for Wonder Woman. People came out of there being like, holy crap, you got to see that movie.
Well, they were praising Patty Jenkins.
Exactly. And mind you, WB, I mean, I'm interested. I mean, I'm sure Joss Whedon had to fight for the stuff that he did get because Patty Jenkins had to fight for the war scene, the scene that made the movie. She had to fight for it. So the fact that I don't think Zack has to fight for much means they do exactly, we like what he does. That's not a great thing all the time. When they're liking what you do, that's not always great. They think dark is good. And for Joss, it's lighter. Like even Batman, when he didn't have a suit on, was just a lighter Batman. He looked different. When he shaved, he didn't even look the same.
Wasn't that weird to see him with just the armor on and not the cowl?
Totally.
And just being like a normal person?
Totally, dude. Showing the bruises, and she's like, let me get that for you. And, he's cracking it showed him as being human. You know what I'm saying? And which made me think, like you said, maybe he's just like, look, I can't do this. I'm 46 years old. I'm not trying to do this much longer. So maybe he'll have a new they could always bring back Gordon Levitt, He's still in the, he found the cave. Maybe they could bring him in.
I think he'd be a better Nightwing.
That's what I'm saying. Have him come in as a help. You can, but again, that's Christopher Nolan. Nolan's the one that did it wisely.
What was your top scene in the movie? Your favorite takeaway scene?
It's Superman being Superman.
But that's not really a scene.
Oh, it is. I think it is.
I'm talking about like one particular scene that stood out.
When he, I think it's when Superman was fighting Homeboy and just like seeing him smile when he tried to punch him and just be like, no, this is how dope I am. Making fun. Whoops, missed. Or, hey, this guy's still giving you trouble. No problem. Next. That's what I liked.
I think for me, it was definitely the last like third of the movie when they were all starting to finally work together.
That was dope.
And they were like you were saying, like when Cyborg started coming up to the forefront and kind of telling them, this is what's happening. This is what we need to do. I think that he definitely was a huge contribution to this movie's success.
I do. I think,
yes. And I don't think that I did not give him the credit he deserves. I just thought it was just going to be, I didn't like the way he looked. No. I thought it was going to be kind of boring. I liked that he said booyah, which is, that's canon. I just freaking liked Cyborg a lot better than I thought. And I thought that he was like kind of like a glue for that team in that situation. He was like, I got this, guys. You do what you do. I'm going to do what I do, and it's all going to work out okay.
Well, also liked how him and I love the part where he caught Aquaman. He's like, my man, like just having fun. And then how he surfed that dude through the building and just start walking away.
I like that part, but I'm telling you, man, it's that my man stuff that's the one thing about the Momoa Aquaman. It's a little too bro-y for me.
I mean, I don't.
But I liked Aquaman. I liked Aquaman. I thought he looked badass when he was swimming.
That's what I'm saying.
The way he's jumping.
It didn't strike me as bro-ish only because of when he was like, my man. It struck me, since he's kind of ethnic, as different. It would have been if it was a blonde-haired cat, it was like, my man. I'm like, ugh. But since it was just kind of like that, my man, I was like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? I would have dapped him up too. but I love how, remember when Barry Allen tried to dap up Cyborg and he just wasn't having it, and he was like, oh, that's real racial issues.
Yeah. So we're not there yet.
Like racial stuff. Yeah, that's real. I was like, no, they did not go racial. It's like racial, you know.
And at the end, when they're showing them all, like when you're like looking up at them, and he finally gets the fist bump. How happy he looked when he got that fist bump.
That was so. I mean, dude, look, man.
Little subtleties like that were hilarious.
So
that made the movie
good. Again, everybody, here's what Steve is telling you. They're not going to listen and improve these movies if you don't see them. Even if you think it's a hair tick better, go see it. Because otherwise they're going to pull it right back to a hair tick down. This is a huge improvement. So please, if you can, if you have the Skrilla, go see this movie. Please go see this movie. You won't be disappointed. Go in there with an open mind and just ready to have fun. Not go in there to be like, let me see what's wrong with this movie, because you'll find something. But if you look at what's great in the movie, you're going to have so much fun. You will not have wasted your money. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. And what does Dan say?
Like I said, I really enjoyed the movie a lot. There were things that I did not care for, but I think that those were so minimal to the story on the whole that I can totally live with that there. I'm very excited to see the next one. As we just mentioned for the last 10 minutes that we were talking, I'm really hoping that it doesn't just fall back into Snyderville and become, really dark and kind of boring and bland. I liked Wonder Woman better. I think that this was a more fun movie. And I think that you're going to think the same thing. I really do. I don't think that you don't believe the hype of what these people are saying. Don't believe critics just because they write articles for a living. You know what I mean? And you see this, you just take in what they don't drink their Kool-Aid, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Watch the movie for yourself and just go in and then just enjoy it. It's a good time. It's 2 hours of fun the whole way through. It's not boring whatsoever. And I think you're going to really dig this movie.
Dope. But more importantly, we want to hear what you think. So Dan, how would they do that exactly?
I will tell you how, sir. Cue the music. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to the show. You've been listening to the Heroes of Noise. Now it's time to tell you how you can contact us. If you're into email, please hit us up at heroesofnoisepodcast@gmail.com. That is heroesofnoisepodcast@gmail.com. If you're on the Twitterverse, you can reach us at Heroes of Noise. You can reach myself, Dan Ramirez, at DanQPublic, and my friend Steve Hudson at SE_Hudson. That's an at the beginning. At SE_Hudson, because that's how Twitter works. If you want to reach us by phone, that's a pretty simple thing to do too. And I'm really hoping that you do, because again, as I always say, I want to hear what you guys sound like. It's just something I'm into. The number is 559-492-9831. That is 559-492-9831. Ladies and gentlemen, I've had a great time with you. Steve, I've had a great time with you talking about all this stuff.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing you soon, my man. Is there any closing statements you want to make before we go?
Not a chance, brother. You said it the best way a person could possibly say it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Steve.
My name is Dan. Thanks for listening to the Heroes of Noise. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.